Oh, she said she's the caller.
Okay. Oops.
Well, my last night's caller.
There she is.
Oh, she's on.
She must have done it right on. David?
Is the TAN resolution? I don't see it in our drop drive.
The motion is here.
Oh, okay, that's what I was like.
Paperwork is
there it
in the
is.
to be gotten.
Yeah, sorry.
I just didn't flip.
Sorry.
What is red?
Been a while since we had something on the back page.
Yeah.
There she is. All right, we on?
We're rolling.
Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's select board meeting. Today's Tuesday, December 9th. This is a budget work session, I think our last one. I'm Sabrina Dunlap. We have Stephen Whitley, Alyssa McCann, Jeff Donahoe, and Vicky Braham is dialed in and might be joining us in person. So I would make a motion that we allow Vicky to join remotely.
Second,
And it's a roll call vote. I'm a yes. Stephen?
yes.
Alyssa? Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Vicky, are you able to speak?
Hi,
Hi.
what's up?
Hi. You're with us. You're on.
We're in rush hour traffic.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's
Okay.
delightful.
All right, well. Drive
I'm gonna request that I stay muted and then maybe I could just raise my hand if I have to say something.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So first we have approval of the consent agenda.
There's a lean one.
Yeah.
Is it just the manifest?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda of December 9th.
Vicky, do you want to vote with us? If yes, it's a roll call vote. Or the
No,
four-
I don't have it in front of me. I don't think it's in the
Okay,
drive
so we'll
doc,
just
so
vote.
I'm gonna
No,
abstain.
Up or down. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, Vicky's abstaining. Okay, next we have approval of the public meeting minutes from November 17th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 17th meeting minutes. Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining. Okay. Anyone opposed?
Hi,
Okay. Well, we are supposed to do a roll call vote if you're voting, Vicky. I hate to say it, but,
well,
Um,
I did painstakingly read these minutes.
okay, good. All right, let's do a roll call vote so it counts. All right, Vicky, you're a yes?
Yes,
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Abstain and Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our first and only public appointment is the Capital Improvement Program Committee and Dave Feller. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us and good evening to all of you in what I suspect is a very long upcoming meeting for you.
It's gonna be a quick one.
I am going to try to be
Yeah.
very, very quick.
Okay.
I'm assuming that you've seen the handouts and I'm just going to skip through, just to tell you, the first page is just Karen, catch up here.
On the bottom right, next to the slide bar to the left, click that, it'll run it
This,
down to the left of that.
the other left.
Nope. Right after the slide bar to the left.
Little projector thing.
No.
Yeah.
This.
No, left, go left, go left, go left. Nope, too far. Right there.
There you
Yep,
go.
there you go.
Damn.
Now we, yeah.
I There we go.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
next page.
The next one.
So this first slide just tells you what what the committee's charge is. And I'm just gonna skip that. You can read that at your leisure. And then next is the jurisdiction that we have according to the RSA's, just basically stating that we're supposed to be looking at the town, the school, and also the village, the precincts, which we haven't been doing, to be honest with you. Next, the next one is a definition of what the definition of the capital project is. $10,000, 5-year life, non-recurring, okay, and bonding. And we'll get to this in the questions in the back, because you had some questions on double counting of the bonds and stuff last meeting, which I'll explain to you when we get there. But the RSA actually says that the Capital Improvement Committee has to at least project what the bond payments are going to be in their long-term plan. Okay. Next one is our committee, of which Michael Foley and Billy Palazzolo are both here. Don Houston is at a precinct meeting tonight, and Jim Fredema may or may not be able to make it. Also this year, Karen was extremely helpful in everything we were doing. I'm sure Kelly was involved, and Beverly and everybody else, and just want to really thank, because we really, going from Neil to Karen, really went through these schedules with a fine-tooth comb. And I mean, every cell, every formula in the whole thing. And she put a lot of work into it. So thank you.
Thank
Go to the
you.
next slide.
And-
Karen, he's talking about people.
Sorry.
And also, this year was the first year we really had active involvement with the schools as well, with Laura Taylor and Jim Brzezicki. Okay. So the recommendation that we made in here of the $1.32 million appropriation is exactly the same recommendation that last year we projected we were going to have to make. Expenditures within the plan have changed, but we've been able to change the allocation by funds to keep that number constant to what was projected last year. Represents a 5.1% increase over the 1.256 of last year. And in the maintenance trust, it was going from 118.5 to 130 this year. 9.7, but it's a lot smaller numbers. And there's some things that we can talk about if we wanted to tweak that a little bit. The big thing, the difference in what I think the Capital Improvement Committee does versus the specific responsibility of the annual plan from a school board and from a select board, is we are looking at the long term. And what we're really trying to do is watch out for spikes in dollars and percentages. And we try to do that as best we can. As you can see, if we go to the next page, 5.1% is fine. But if you look out in the next 4 years, there's some pretty significant expenditures planned in the next 4 years. So any reduction, so let's just say that we're trying to reduce that, and we don't want an increase, and we want to reduce that by $100,000. It's not like that $100,000 is going to go away, because we're going to have to massage the numbers and increase that $100,000 over the next probably 2 years, which is going to make that work look even worse. The only way to actually decrease the appropriation is to decrease what we're spending. And it's important to note that the town votes on I have the bucket approach that I have down there. This is my kind of illustration, and the appropriations are what goes into the bucket. The expenditures are what come out of the bucket. The town meeting approves the appropriations in, the select board makes the decisions on what comes out. Okay? Okay. So then on the next page, there ain't questions so far. I'm trying to move as fast as I can through this. So The next page, what I did is I went back and looked at your meeting 2 weeks ago. And you spent quite amount of time. It was over an hour and a half, I think, on capital improvement and maintenance trust issues. I wish I was here because I think I could have answered a lot of the questions, but anyway, I tried to put all the comments that were still questions here in here, and we can go through each one if you want, and I can explain them. If you want to do that, I'll do that real quickly, and you can stop me.
Okay,
Is that okay?
sure.
Okay, so first of all, you talked about the cemetery trust fund, and I wasn't sure whether you were talking about the trust fund that was within the maintenance plan or the fund that the cemetery trustees keep.
That's what I
That
was.
one.
Okay, so this is irrelevant
Okay.
then.
Yeah.
But it is noted that there's $6,000 in here and there's no planned expenditures out of this fund and no appropriations going in planned for the next 20 years. So there's $6,000 there that can be used for something. Okay? You talked about the fire department, the second forestry truck, whether it was needed. I would say that the capital improvement committee spent an exorbitant amount of time looking at all the expenditures of the fire department because that's where the vast majority of the big ticket items were there. And we're very lucky that we have Billy Palazzolo on our committee now, who's a fireman in Nashua and knows a lot of this stuff, got a tremendous amount of factual information from community, help me, Bill, from the group that you got the information from in the
Capital area?
capital area.
Yeah.
The number of trucks, number of times things are used, who has what trucks in the surrounding areas, and some really, really good information. It's late in the process to make big changes, okay? But we have information that after the annual meeting, that we should probably plan a month or two later to just sit down and say, here's some ideas that you should think of, because we think there's some good savings in there going forward. But specifically, the forestry truck, was it the 95, was it needed? This is the second truck, but this is the biggest equipped truck they have. So this one is needed. It's possible that when we have to replace the one they just purchased a year or two ago, that one won't be needed, but this one is.
I would just love a clarification about what is a forestry truck. I know what a pumper is in terms of the fire department, but what is a forestry truck to the fire department?
Can you help me? Come on up here and speak into the
Yeah, do you mind?
Bill Palazzolo. So the forestry is typically a heavy duty pickup truck, like a F-250. Ours have a tank in it with water, and it has forestry hose, which is much smaller diameter, but it is used for firefighting remote areas. It's not just for forestry, but it could be a cabin out in the woods that a big truck cannot get to.
So fair to say it gets a lot of use. Maybe.
I know. I mean, it is more of a specialized. I mean, we have the numbers. So where was it? I got it. So 2024. So the last year we have full calls for. The forestry one did 40 calls. Forestry 2 did 38. So it's not a lot of calls, but you do need one to get to those specialized calls. We were just questioning whether we needed 2. So.
Is that?
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could stay. I'm not dismissing you.
Just stay here. Just stay here. I need
We
something.
do need 2 because of the number of calls. Is that the, no?
We think you probably only need 1, but
Okay.
this one is equipped better than the one that has to be replaced is the heavy duty one that has more equipment in it. The one 2 years ago that was purchased, I think it was 23.
So
Good.
they track it as forestry 1, forestry 2. and at first we saw that and that was what raised the like a flag to look into it. When we were talking to the chief, they actually use it as a brush. They don't really truck, which is maybe nice to have, but still to be determined if we need a brush. So, but it might be easier if it was designated differently, but it's just Forestry 1, Forestry 2 here.
A brush truck being a brush fire truck.
A brush would be even more specialized where it's not as heavy duty as this truck. It really is a stripped down version of the forestry. It's even lighter than the forestry.
And it is denoted as a brush now on here.
Yep.
So if we get the new, better equipped truck for 95 grand, is the idea that the other truck can then be sold?
We didn't think about selling it. We thought about not replacing it when the replacement comes up.
Okay.
Which is in
2040, is that right?
2038.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not for a while.
I have just a specific question, if that's okay. So looking at the next couple of years, in particular, you're talking about how there's those big spikes potentially, right, in 2027, 2028, 2030. And I guess I'm curious as to why on projects where we don't know what we're doing yet. We know we're gonna have to do them eventually, but we don't know what we're doing. We don't have plans. We don't have why we wouldn't take the appropriation and spread it out over more years, particularly over the years that have lower percentages.
Well, the challenge that we have is with the projects on here, unless you're going to take one off entirely, we have to solve for the lowest number in each category. Okay, so if you take the appropriation out, something is going to go negative, which means a fund's going to be negative, which means you can't make the expenditure in the year that you want to make it. So if you look at it, that's how we moved everything around the appropriations to solve for the lowest number in every category.
I think where I'm struggling is particularly in the town hall renovation
Yep.
and in the appropriations and potential expenditures in a year in which we don't have the plans to even do that work. And so why would we put that there? Why wouldn't we take some of the expenditures from 27 or 28, move them up in the appropriations and move that further out to 20?
Unless you take them out entirely, the appropriation's still going to have to be there. Okay, so let me give you an example. So
Feels like, sorry, it just feels like we have to pay for the whole project at once. As
no,
opposed to-
absolutely not. That's the whole thing of this is that I'm not, when I look at the town hall and I'm making that appropriation, okay?
New office, north side, 73.
Yeah. But what I'm not solving for the for the $75,000 ending balance in 27. I'm solving to the $300 balance at the end of 2030. I have to make sure that none of those numbers across that line go negative. And if you reduce the appropriations, something's going to go negative. And the only way you make it not go negative is remove the expenditure. You can move that expenditure out a year. It's not going to change a thing. Because I'm solving for year 2030. What we're trying to do is to make sure that we don't have a situation like, probably regret saying this, but what the school did several years ago, and they didn't do the deferred maintenance planning, and then we ended up with a huge bond to make up for it. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid. And we have.
I guess I'm just struggling as to why it's not represented as putting aside smaller amounts in a given project each year. It just presents, and I'm sure this is not the
Okay, so-
but it presents as if we're putting aside the whole amount in that given year.
Okay, so let's take the town hall, for instance. Let's say that we reduce, let's say that we move those two expenditures out to 2028. Okay? Take the 73 and the 75 and move them to 2028. We're not going to do it to 28. Tell me what effect that's going to have on the balance at the end of 2030.
It's gonna be a negative.
It's going to be nothing. All you're doing is moving the expenditure from 26 to 28. It's not going to have any effect on the balance in 2030.
Okay.
Okay, so therefore, if it's not going to have any balance, if I move the expenditure out 2 years and I reduce the appropriation this year, 2030 goes negative.
I guess I'm struggling as to why holistically there are such swings in it, why we wouldn't balance it in such a way that it's the same increase each year versus 5% this year, 20% next year, 13% the year after that.
So you want to, okay, we can do that. We can add more to the appropriation this year. We could do that.
Please don't.
No, I truly am curious, right? Because
So here,
it's a stepping stone. It feels like next year's, what we're setting ourselves up for isn't a step. We're setting ourselves up for cliff.
next year is a big increase. That's correct. It's $270,000, $276,000.
Do we know what's driving that increase next
We
year?
do.
Yeah.
And that's the mainly it's the sludge. It's still a lot of the stuff in the sludge area and transfer station.
Oh, yeah.
And wait, yeah, wait for this, So let me just rip through some other questions, then we can come back and,
Yeah.
and pull them. So we just talked about the town hall stuff. Okay, so transfer station, trailer expenditure. So there, you had talked about, why was the trailer expenditure in there? But there was nothing in there for, I don't know whether you brought this up or not, but there was nothing in there for the landfill cap. And our thought was this, the landfill cap, we did some, how much is it going to cost for landfill cap? Okay, and we're really experts at this. Okay,
Should call me. I know the answer.
we flipped the coin and we said, look, let's say it costs $250,000. Say it costs $250,000 to replace it. We don't know whether that's right or not. We were pretty sure at the last meeting that you were going to approve a contract with Waste Management, and therefore we weren't going to need the trailer of 119. If we weren't going to need that trailer, there's 2 other trailers that we wouldn't need also, and we could sell them. And we thought that we could make another 125, 130,000 in selling them, which would give us enough money to pay for the repair of the cap. But since we didn't know any of that, okay, we just kept the numbers the way they are because we think we have a plan to fill it if that's the case. I don't know whether that makes sense or not, but that's what our thought process was. Yeah, the roads and bridges, the highlighted item, I think, Stephen, you brought up why it was highlighted. It was just that was the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Okay, that had to be done. And the way it was explained to us is that you could not fix it once it was become a category 5.
Right.
They put a sign on it, they put
Yeah.
the roads, you're done. So what we talked about was expending as much money as we can now to get the engineering done on the bridge, even possibly place the contract with Weaver Brothers to start engineering it and even manufacturing it so that when and if they shut us down, everything was ready to go and they could shut it down. And we figured, and Dan said that was probably a two-week time period once everything was ready to actually replace the bridge.
Wow.
Right? Okay. I thought I got the eyes. Like, what? So that was the roads and bridges.
Okay.
Recreation facilities, the track project. So I think Karen explained it properly, is we had originally taken it out of there because it was $1.5 million project. It was supposed to be funded three ways: public funds, school, and town. And since we found out the school didn't even have it on the radar at all and had no intentions of having it on the radar, we took it out. Okay, but then after further discussions, we decided, since it's so far out, we wanted to keep it in as a placeholder. Okay, nobody really sees the number that's out that far. So that's the only reason that it's in there as a kind of a placeholder.
And that's the yellow highlighted square with no number in there.
There is a number now.
Oh,
So if you look at the one Karen just, I'm sorry, it's out 4 more years.
oh, okay. It's past the yellow. I was
Yes.
distracted by the yellow.
That's what we did. We took it out and then we moved it out. Yep,
Sorry.
sorry.
Misdirection there. Okay.
Yes. Um, the other thing that we have to do, and we need to move. So I think, did you talk about the field, the project that was in 2 different places?
I think in the version that I had sent you, I
Yes.
moved it into recreational, but
Okay, well, there's some fields
it was just
maintenance in 2 different areas, and we need to just move it so it's in one place. But I didn't move it for this presentation because it would have thrown balances negative, so I need to move appropriations around too.
and we need to confirm some information on that with Dan too.
Yeah. There's a lot of money out scheduled for rebuilding baseball fields and soccer fields and everything else. And to your point of avoiding spikes, it's something we really need to look at and say, is this really something that we want to spend this much money on?
And would that be part of the conversation a month or two after town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then bathrooms, I think Vicky asked the question of why it was in 2025. So when we knew we weren't going to do it, and the answer there is it really doesn't matter if it's in the expended in column 20 for 25 or if it's in 26. It has the exact same effect on the numbers.
Which ties back into your question on the town hall stuff. Just because the expense is showing in 2026 doesn't mean it will actually get done. It'll be there. We could use all of it, some of it, if however we determine we want to spend it.
Next question was the colors, and I have to do a better job of putting a legend on here, what they mean. Okay, purple, I think Karen explained, that means it was new
Yeah.
from last year to this year. The green means simply that I changed the allocation. So I wanted all the members in the committee to know I took $50,000 out of fire and put it in library or something like that. And that's all the green is. Bond payments. Bond payments are in here because the RSA says that we have to have them in here, but they have no effect on the number. They're not part of the appropriations. They're not part of the total expenditures. They're just there for information. And the increase of $226,000 does not include bond payments. That was a question as well. And slowly, I think you had discussed this, it's driven by transfer stations, sludge removal, and roads and bridges. I'll keep talking unless you want me to stop.
Keep rolling.
Okay. The maintenance trust, in the fire department last year, we made a bunch of recommendations that we thought there were a lot of things, not a lot of things. There were things in the CIP plan that shouldn't be because they were either under the capital amount, they weren't, they were under the useful life time of 5 years, or they were recurring payments.
Okay.
And radios and fire department radios, and there's a bunch of different radios that they use. These are not the big ones. These are ones that they either wear on their themselves or the ones that are in the trucks. The portables, yes. And we just felt that they should, since it's a recurring thing that they replace every year, they should be removed from the CIP plan. When we discussed this and Karen felt that we needed to keep them somewhere because they needed to be replaced. And she didn't know whether the selectmen at this point in this process would be willing to change the operating budget and move them into the operating budget,
Which is where they belong.
which is where we feel they belong.
However, last week Alyssa made the point that we should potentially consider putting all of this stuff in a separate fund so we can levelly fund or more levelly fund the operating budget. So the operating budget's not bouncing around
Well,
based
but
on
these-
radios and we're
These are
drawing.
annual expenditures. I mean, there's an annual number here for every single radio.
There's a conversation, I guess I'm implying that the board needs to have on
But it's,
how to,
we've got the fire department with a 1.5% increase when they shifted $21,000 over to the maintenance trust. And if that was in their regular budget, then their budget would have been up by 6 or 7%.
but then they're committed to buy those radios. However, if, or let's say they go into a fire and they lose 4 radios, where's that money coming from?
This is going to come from either way.
Well, that should be part of what they're.
I think that's,
Should be part of this.
so they would be budgeting for potentially losing radios in a fire
How do they
every
do it
year.
now? How do they do it now?
I've been doing it for the last 10 years.
They,
CIP.
they use the
No,
CIP.
so all we're saying is to move these numbers into the operating budget, take it out of the CIP, put it in the operating budget. Shouldn't have any effect on.
It goes away at the end of the year in the operating budget.
Lapses.
Anything that's not spent disappears, where if it's in a fund, it's,
Yeah.
can be accessed in following years.
What I'm hoping we do in January is have a conversation about our philosophy towards giving budgeting instructions to department
Yeah,
heads.
yeah, I heard.
That is much clearer as to what is CIP, what is maintenance, and what is operation. And
I think-
provide that so that it's not a question, it's not a where do we stick it, it's rather we've come to an agreement and they can easily follow that, so it's not a debate about where to put it. It's a debate about how to present it and budget for it and fund it.
So,
This is actually outside of your area, correct?
well, that's what I was gonna say. So the question of whether the CIP committee should even be looking at the maintenance trust.
Yeah.
Well, somebody should.
Yes.
Somebody should.
Well, somebody should, say- and our whole feeling of the committee last year, when we made this recommendation to take certain things out of this was transparency. Because as I said, when you go through the operating budget, you're very transparent with every line item that's going through the budget, and everybody sees it. When you talk about the capital trust, you only talk about what's going in. You don't necessarily talk about all the items that you're planning on taking out. And if you do the same thing with maintenance trust, you're doing the same thing. It's not as transparent.
But why can't we make it as transparent?
You can. You absolutely can. You can. It's different than the way it's been done in the past at both school and town.
Because when I look at this, I think in an ideal world, this would be available to the public online with a addendum that explains what each of these line items are that we are hoping and planning for.
Mhm.
So that there is a shorthand to understanding why we are asking for this and what we're hoping to do with it.
Mhm.
I think that there is nothing wrong with providing more information and more detail. Yeah. Recognizing that things will change and things will move around. And alongside that should be posted our philosophy for why things end up where they are and why we make the choices we make.
Yep. Which is addressed the next point here, which is addresses that, which you talked about the inconsistencies that each department's using, so. Payroll liability trust fund, you had a request to increase $2,000 to this to get up to 20,000, and I am strongly against that.
Why?
Do you know what this is for?
We were told it was to help pay out folks with vacation or things that need to be paid out at the end of their time.
That's correct. It was driven by a retiree that had a huge payment due and nothing was accrued. But my question is, when you do your operating budget every year, are those, do you put in your operating budget time off? People are allowed 2 weeks time off Is that part of the number that you're giving me for police department, fire department? Does it include that number?
It does
I think
not.
so, yeah.
Would be built into
So,
the.
so
budget.
we're only,
Time
so
off.
we only,
Hmm?
we only,
How do we pay them for their time off?
Well, we're budgeting for their yearly salary.
Their annual,
for
they're
52
52
weeks.
So it
weeks.
gets-
You're budgeting for
it's the big
52
salary.
weeks.
Correct.
Okay, is there intention to pay them for 55 weeks?
No, what this
No,
trust is.
I understand.
You already know the
Just answer my questions. You're not intending to pay them for 55 weeks. You're intending to pay them in your operating budget for 52. Right?
But
So-
it comes down to the idea that at the end of each year, whatever's left over in the operating budget goes away. versus
Doesn't
the
have to.
fund.
It doesn't have to. Okay, whatever, so let's just say that I don't take my vacation this year and you owe me $5,000 for my vacation. Okay, in the past, that money went away. And you never saw it again. But I think what should be done at the end of the year,
No,
Yeah, we can't.
that doesn't work. Because you worked your 52 weeks.
yeah,
You got paid for 52 weeks,
Correct.
whether or not you took your vacation.
yep.
That $5,000, your budget line is spent, whether it's out of a vacation pool or out of a wage
I
pool.
understand that. I understand that.
So there is no
But-
money to roll into anything else.
But there should be, because there's a liability that exists.
That,
Okay, and if you have a fund balance at the end of the year, the first thing that we should be doing is funding the liabilities that exist.
which is what
Thing to
is,
do.
that's what
But
this,
not out of CIP funds. You should be doing that out of fund balance.
That's not how that can work for us. Like, we are not allowed to do that. We cannot encumber those payroll funds. Plus, we wouldn't even
we
know
wouldn't have
if
them.
somebody was giving us notice. They're
You
necessarily
need
gonna
to.
tell
At
us
the end,
that
at the
budget-
end of any time period, you should know what your total liability is for if everybody resigned the next week, you should know what that liability is.
So we would need to budget for you,
And you
Dave,
do.
your salary at 52 weeks, plus whatever you get to your 2 weeks of vacation, we'd have to budget your 54 weeks. So that in case you did not take your vacation, we could roll the 2 weeks into,
No. Well, I mean,
With
if,
the liability, but we do not save, we do not earmark fund balance for that, assuming
but you do
everybody's
not or
going to
you
retire in
cannot.
1 year.
You do not or you cannot.
I do not believe we can.
this is what the
Normally,
GASB rule.
I don't know how any entity can incur a liability and not be allowed to account for it.
So I do know that this payroll liabilities trust is very common in a lot of towns and is a good
Recommended.
tool. And it was actually recommended by our auditors to do.
He's arguing about how to fund it.
Right. I'm not saying to
not
get
the
away with it.
existence
I'm
of-
saying
of
it
the
should be.
Trust, it's very common.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be in CIP, but then where would it go?
I mean, I almost feel like that whole blue page goes somewhere out of the CI, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't
I just,
necessarily belong with the CIP. The planning part of it should be there. That's a really important part of it, but.
so
who-
my feeling is that if you have a liability at the end of your financial statements, should reflect your liability and there should be a fund balance that is set up to account for that. I am not an expert in fund accounting. Okay.
We are not allowed to spend our fund balance. So without town meeting. So there's rules in place. If we have this trust set up, then if somebody does give their notice, I'm able to pay that.
Okay, so let's
reimbursed.
say that all along, let's say it's year one. We just start, okay? And I have, I don't take my vacation. At the end of the year, you owe me $5,000. And let's say that we took $5,000 and put it in the trust fund. Put it in this payroll liability fund
Where's that money coming from?
from the fund balance at the end of the year. When you have a deficit or a surplus in your fund balance, don't you have 60 days or 90 days to determine how that fund balance is used?
We only have a couple options for fund balance. We can vote at town meeting to use fund balance.
To put it into a trust.
Can use it against the tax rate.
Okay, that's what I mean. So you vote, you put it in a warrant that says my liability is $5,000 and you're using a trust fund to put $5,000 into that. Then 6 months later, okay, I resign. You have to pay me $5,000. The $5,000 comes out of the trust comes out of that payroll liability trust. That's what I'm asking that should be done. So yes, there would have to be a warrant to move those funds in there, but I think the funds that should be moved in there should represent the actual liability that exists. Not just throw $2,000 in there because the auditor says it's 20.
It would be a very large number.
Yeah, how do we, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I agree it shouldn't be in the CIP and it should be in a liability trust fund so that it doesn't lapse. I'm just not clear on what the right numbers are to put into that fund year over year.
Neither do I.
Okay,
I don't know that
okay,
either.
yeah. So we got almost.
Look, that's a discussion for,
We know, which is a good conversation for later, because we have to finalize the budget tonight. I recommend that we still request the $2,000 to get money moving into that fund while we figure out longer term how to fund it. Because I don't think we'll be able to solve that tonight.
So I think the CIP committee is recommending this to you folks. You can do with it whatever you want. You
Sure.
can add to it, subtract from it. We need to do a better job of closing the loop so that, after town meeting, they know, or actually even before town meeting, they know what may have been removed so that they can track it for next year. But
Yeah.
you guys, at this point, essentially, this is your baby.
Yes, the comment I was making was directed at Jess, Vicky, Stephen, Sabrina, that
Yeah.
taking into account this whole conversation, I do agree we need to dig into it deeper, but for the purposes of tonight,
Right.
we should put something towards it with the tools that we currently have.
Okay, let's let Mr. Phillip finish his presentation, because I
Okay.
know he's got. an
okay,
appointment.
I'm gonna flip through. So just $2,000, just so you know, will put you over 10% increase in this fund. Just so you know, the 9.7 is where we are, which is the reason why we're at 9.7. Anyway, human resource, I just wanted to bring to your attention that Human Resources Trust Fund, there's a $29,000 balance. There's no further appropriations or planned expenditures in that. So that's goes in the same area as the $6,000 in the cemetery trust. There's money sitting there that has no intended specific use right now.
Huh.
Are these trusts making any money?
Did I check with what?
Oh,
Are they making money?
Are they making money?
You'd have to check
no.
who's got a town report. It would be in your town report and your statement of
Just do the trust funds.
funds. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you also pointed at that there's some items that you thought might be missing in the maintenance trust, which they are, which is like the roofs and whatnot. And we just didn't have numbers for them. Karen was going to get together with Dan, but Dan was out and then Karen was out. We just haven't had time to connect. The bigger picture there is there's enough money accumulating in the years that they would be replaced to cover that expense. So it is there, but you're right, it does need to be added.
But you feel like for this particular year, we're in a good position?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and you had just questioned that there was not, in the Houston Barns, there was no maintenance or CIP or facilities trust in there. I didn't understand if there was a question there. So then again, and something to cover, we thought at the end, after you're all done through town meeting, is to just look at all the trust funds and all the maintenance funds that are out there. See if it makes any sense to put on the town warrant in 2027 to possibly combine or eliminate some, just to make it easier to account for, easier to understand what goes in where. And that's the end of my 4-minute presentation.
Good job.
Question to everyone else, thank you. A question to everyone else. So for instance, the Human Services Trust Fund, in which there are no plans, and maybe there will be plans, but let's imagine for a second that there aren't. Could we then put on the warrant to move those funds elsewhere at a future date?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yes, or potentially no. It depends on where they came from.
Okay. And we don't have to, I'm just curious, like, to his point, as we clean up for 2027.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because if we have this 29 grand just sitting there, it would be nice to do something with it.
Do you know? if you- you
Offset
don't
other
know
costs,
the
or
Yeah.
just spikes. in other
Don't.
places.
But we would have to see what the intent of the trust was, and the better option would be to spend it down, right, to
Mhm. Right.
reduce,
Well, and
like.
the
not
cemetery,
spend
the cemetery has a
budget.
huge shortage and there's $6,000 sitting there doing nothing. So why couldn't we allocate that to them for their issues?
And reduce their budget.
Right.
You could.
That would be a good question for the cemetery trustees and the trustees
Yep.
of the trust.
Which I think we asked when they were in there, but when they came to present their budget, but I don't think we got a good answer.
Am I released?
Can I ask?
You're stuck here for the rest of the night. You can hang out with
I
them.
think Vicky may have, Vicky?
Hi. I just wanted some clarification on the Houston barn siding, if possible. Kind of like the forestry truck. I'm just wondering, is this planned maintenance or is this because there's a specific issue that needs to be solved?
Yeah, so I was on the Houston Barnes Committee as well, and when we went through and got the initial funding for the big project, we had two follow-up projects from that were kind of still part of, we called it phase like 1B or call it 2. And that was the siding had to be done to preserve the barn from rotting from the outside in. So we knew that the roof was done. And then the third project is sprinkler system. And at the time, the estimate we gave was we just used the square footage number from Jason. Yeah, I forget his name. Yeah, he's an engineer. He was on the committee at the time and does a lot of these estimates. But he gave us the big ballpark estimate of $130,000 for the siding. And then next year, I think we're planning on putting in a possible sprinkler in the system.
That number actually seems low.
Hmm?
That number actually seems low.
I thought it was though.
Like,
Oh, the sprinkler system, what we did, and we used, we used the square footage number there. The only thing is I'm not sure that we applied the number correctly. And what we did was we took the linear footage and of 24,000 square feet and 44,000 square feet. And we multiplied that by the square footage number to come up, but we're not sure whether it would just need one riser in the whole thing or whether it would need multi-levels, so that it could double or triple. But that was just an estimate we wanted to put in there. So.
Any other questions for the CFP people?
No. Thank you, guys.
For all of your hard work on this.
Okay.
Appreciate the clarity here.
All right. Good luck.
gosh,
Okay.
I don't want to spend too much time on the payroll liability trust fund, but I'm just remembering that when we created it, I want to say we put like 10 grand in it or something, that was the recommendation. And so what is it currently at?
20 was the start. I think it was a warrant article for 20, I believe. And then that one retiree took out of it.
No, it's down to 6,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
How much?
6,000.
6?
6,600.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was much higher.
Hmm?
I thought it was much higher. So we're above where we started? Is that what you're telling me?
No, we put 20,000 in
Oh.
over a couple of years, and
Okay.
now we're down to 6,600.
Got it.
Right. So. Where do we start?
Now for the low hanging fruit.
So in the interest of, are we moving on to the budget? Can we just do the Dustin?
Oh, yeah.
conservation easement?
yeah.
'Cause we have somebody here
Oh, yeah.
to talk about it.
Yes. Dustin.
Did that end up?
Yes.
We need,
There's a big fat, and it may still be. Okay. I have it with you.
Karen, can you close this CIP thing on the Zoom so that
Yep.
I can see the meeting better? Thank you.
Okay, let me grab them. It's just, it's the document that you guys have seen a couple of times and just needs a signature. So, I don't know if you have any questions? Yeah.
Please, yeah.
I'm Rob Knight from the Conservation Commission and the Open Space Committee. And this is a project that we've been working on. I look back since 2021, I think. We talked to the select board in 2022 about it. Anyways, it's going to be a great conservation area. It's going to have parking and trails and protect a lot of the Warner River. But I just wanted to be here in case you had any questions about this.
We read through that easement 7 or 8 times.
Did you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so hopefully knock on wood, it's all set.
Do we just need to authorize
have to-
Karen to sign for the town?
Okay,
That's who it looked like was set up to sign for. the
okay,
town.
thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Just confirm.
Actually, maybe we could tick through some of the others and then move on to the budget,
Yeah.
so we don't have those things
Okay.
hanging out here. Okay, so easement, we just have to sign, or do we need to,
I think, I don't know if you want to make,
or authorize you to sign it? Is that what we're doing?
no, your names are on it.
Oh. Okay.
So I don't know if you want to vote on accepting the roles that are outlined in here, because I think we had a conversation that there is some responsibility should Five Rivers dissolve, correct? That the town becomes responsible,
Mhm.
just.
So.
If the town becomes responsible or can pass the responsibility on to some other conservation group.
Yep.
And so what do you mean assign roles?
Well, that you're accepting some responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
We got bigger problems than this parcel if Five Rivers goes away.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, seriously.
It's true.
Okay, so do we need to take action besides sign it?
that's up to you. You just,
I think if we're all set, though, we just need to vote that we accept the recent changes and that we agree to enter into
for
the
this
the
agreement.
easement. Yeah,
easement.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, Vicky.
She's on.
All right, Stephen.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. All right, so.
I'm gonna sign, pass this down.
Okay,
Thank you,
sounds
Rob.
Good, thank you. The tax anticipation note, do we need to read that?
There's a very specific motion. Kelly's got the paperwork and she can answer any questions.
Do I have to be the one on here? It can't just be Joel.
They need board members. So you guys are all gonna sign both of these documents, and then it would just be for you and Joel to sign the final document.
I move to authorize Select Board Chair Sabrina Dunlap and Treasurer Joel Moyle to apply for and approve securing a tax anticipation note in 30 days, for the amount of $3 million at a fixed interest rate of 4.5% through Merrimack County Savings.
Seconded.
Good job.
This will beat me to it.
I did, I so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Vicky. Do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I do. I say yes.
Okay, Stephen?
Yes.
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 Okay,
Thank you.
Joel's just doing all the other stuff.
yeah, so we're not like personally liable for this loan, right? No. That would be a problem.
Next comes an appraisal of your house.
It's scary. Of money.
Very
Okay.
short period of time.
Yeah, as short as possible.
Okay. The tax rate, I think we can, we'll do that with the budget.
Okay.
Let's do the flood, 'cause that's pretty easy, right? It's re-signing the flood.
Yep. So when Karen first presented this, this was during the government shutdown. When FEMA finally opened up again, they said, oh, wait a minute, you need to change your wording. And I think it's very straightforward. So,
Okay, that's what we talked about at the last.
and I think that one is here.
Okay.
So I don't know who wants to read that resolution, because I think you need to read it again.
I've got it.
Vicky loves to read these.
Thank you.
Steven stepping
I'm
up.
gonna do it. A poor replacement. Pursuant to RSA 674-57 by resolution of the select board, all lands designated as special flood hazard areas by the Federal Emergency Management Agency in its flood insurance study for the county of Merrimack, New Hampshire, dated January 23rd, 2026, together with the associated flood insurance rate map panels dated April 19th, 2010, and January 23rd, 2026, are declared to be part of the town of Hopkinton's zoning ordinance and are hereby incorporated by reference.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Vicky.
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
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 Thank you. All right, ambulance billing rates,
So we were going to follow up on those from last week. You had seen them and the question was, it said Comstar at the top of the page. This is what Comstar bills on our behalf.
Gotcha.
And Chief Yale's next words were, and we don't necessarily get it. So.
right, okay, so Comstar bills us, all right.
Yep.
All right, so no action on this, right?
No, unless you want to vote I don't think we voted to
Just set those rates.
accept them because I think the board sets rates. This would be effective January 1st. It could be effective sooner. I think we've sort of done them. He said he had not, I guess, updated them last year, but we did them the year before, but I don't think it's ever come through the board. So however you would like to do it.
But we do need to adopt them.
I would recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the ambulance billing rates that are before us this evening.
Seconded.
Okay,
We're killing it tonight, kids.
Vicky,
Yes.
Steven,
Yes, and I should add that we need to choose an effective date.
Is it on? I don't
It
think it's on
says-
there.
It says as of 12/1.
Yeah, you could do it as of 12/1, which probably doesn't make sense at this point. I would recommend January 1st.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll just revise my motion to go into effect January 1.
Still seconded.
Okay.
Holding strong.
Yes.
Vicky. Yes, Steven.
Yes.
Yes, Melissa.
Yes.
Yes.
You? Okay. Solid waste removal. So much fun.
The short version of the long story is that enter into an extension of our current contract with Waste Management for another 5 years is going to be the best option for us. I did get some comps and well, for one was from Naughton, and they said we can't be there as often as you need us to be. So that they were out. I gave basically the same information to Casella, and their number came in at $550,000 a year because they haul it way up north. So Waste Management, I think we put 339 in or something like that for this year. It's the tipping fee this year is a 106 per ton. And it goes up to 111, 116, 122, and 128 over the next 5 years.
Okay,
Thank you for gathering that information, Karen.
thank you.
So,
We need to vote to move forward with that contract.
yeah. And I have a signature page, but it's not the corrected one. Sorry about that. So you can, actually, I need to probably go get that for you because he needs it tomorrow because it's time sensitive. But anyway, let's keep moving.
Well, do we need to kind of make a
Move
motion?
Yeah, you should move to enter into that contract.
Move to enter into the waste management contract and authorize Karen to sign on our behalf? Is that?
No, they need this tomorrow, so let's,
We're signing it.
Okay,
She's gonna get the signature page.
I'm gonna get the signature page.
okay.
They had your name wrong, Jeff, spelled wrong, and I said this has to be right.
Do you want to
I
revise?
tried it, it's just spelled wrong, I can tell you that.
Do you want to revise your motion?
Yeah. What do we,
Because you said Karen sign.
oh, move we enter into the waste management contract for the next 5 years for waste management disposal.
Vicky,
You're gonna get me out of here by 8, that'd
Yes.
be great.
yes,
Yes, let's talk about.
yes,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Alyssa, you're.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And just like for the record, anyone watching online, I know we're yesing this contract very quickly right now, but that's only because of the hours of conversation we've previously had in other meetings and all the due diligence Karen has done
Mm-hmm.
and the hours she has spent to get us the best possible contract. So I don't want you to think
Sure.
that we're entering into it lightly. This is simply the resolution of an ongoing project.
Mm-hmm. Okay, repair of transfer station cap.
Ready for this one? Dave? Mr.
Dave,
Fine?
you gotta hear this.
Yeah, you gotta hear this. There are two board members know what I'm about to say. So I asked Nobis for a ballpark figure on the repairs to the cap based on the work that was done there. I think it was the end of September, they did the sampling. $800,000.
What's the time frame to do those repairs?
We don't know yet. I really wanted to have Dan Blanchette be part of that conversation with Novus. DES has not yet seen the results. We need to make sure that they, we need to sort of have some more information from Novus.
Yeah.
And I don't feel comfortable going into that conversation without Dan there. So I'm hoping we can have this in the next couple of weeks. Nail down, Tim Andrews's comment was, it could be a little bit this way or a little bit that way, depending on how we opt to
Never this, it's
proceed.
always that way.
But, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's always bigger. So for now, that's in the back of our minds. I'm assuming that because it is a failure, that DES is going to tell us it's high priority. So more info to come, but let's just kind of park that in the back of our minds to think about.
Fun treat.
Mm.
Okay,
This is as of yesterday afternoon. So.
Wow. Thank you.
Was
Okay.
there also
Yeah,
an
that's-
action
that's
item
a
related
real
to
quick
this
comment.
that had
Oh,
to
Hold
do
on.
with?
Vicky, we can't really hear you. Hold on. Say that again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Was there an action item related to this that had to do with finding an old contract that involved Warner?
That is still, we're still digging. We're actually now looking online for the court case that established that agreement.
Dave, did you have
That's
a?
what I was gonna say.
Oh.
I thought Warner would be on the hook with 30%
Yeah.
of that. And that was that offset number also on that bond question that you had last week. That the reimbursement of the 20,000, there was a positive number in there. That was Warner's share.
Yep. We're actively looking for that document.
Okay.
We do know what happened.
It's out there if you're feeling like looking for something.
We do know it was 1997, so.
Oh,
That is a
I think that's a great clip.
nice. All right.
So back,
Anyone have anything else that's not budget or tax rate related?
No.
Okay, so we need to finalize the budget. I also asked Karen if she would just give like a quick overview of what goes into the tax rate. I feel like in the past, we didn't really talk that much about it. It was just sort of like Neil presented us with a rate and that was
And
absolutely.
agreed, and we were done.
Yeah, and so I feel like it might be helpful to just do a refresher / a quick 101 on like what goes into it. But otherwise we have to finalize this. And this. So.
And so before you start in on the budget, I'm gonna attempt to make your changes that you all agree on in real time so I can give you your percent.
You're a
Thank you.
baller. Thank
But
you.
there's a little bit of a delay, so I might have to hold you guys up a couple.
Okay.
While there's a lull, did we get the FEMA thing? Do we supposed to sign the FEMA thing?
I have it right here. I have a pile of stuff to sign.
Okay.
I just didn't want to keep passing
That's
it
fine.
down.
I just wasn't
Just
sure.
things were happening real fast.
It's
Guys,
a
I'm
busy
gonna be
night.
there in 5 minutes. Maybe we could like take time and sign the things or hit the
Yeah,
rest.
okay.
Yeah, can we just, it sounds like Vicky wants us to take 5 until she arrives. You said,
Oh,
Do you want to just give a quick overview of what we talked about earlier, just like about what goes into the tax rate? Because then.
Can you take that presentation down so people can see?
oh, I took, sorry, yeah.
Not me, I have a face for radio, but
I love that saying.
It's really funny. What happened to?
do kids even know what that means now?
No, I
Right?
don't know what
So
the
like,
radio.
it's radio.
is.
It's making me sick.
because it's all streaming.
That's
I
right.
have video with everything.
That's right.
I have a Facebook,
Exactly.
right, so yeah.
So tax rate. I think I've discovered through this process that you probably are being sucked into the whole process, probably more so than you have been in the past. Tax rate starts basically right now when we establish a budget for the year. It gets voted on. It's an MS 737. You will sign that. Actually, I think the Budget Committee signs that. It gets voted on at town meeting. That is what the town votes is your appropriation for the year. We kind of clunk along through the year, and then we get to later in the year, September, and revenues become part of the equation. We estimate the revenues. DRA kind of looks at them. Then we also, at about the same time, the MS1 is done. That is the overall assessment of the town. So we take into account the value of all the properties, then we take off credits and exemptions and different, like your pilots and things like that, which give us a total assessment. So your tax rate is your appropriations less your revenues divided by your assessment. The last step, which is what Kelly and I did with DRA Friday morning, is we sit and she goes through pretty much the whole thing and said, okay, the budget was approved. She matches the appropriations with what is voted at town meeting. She actually reads our town meeting minutes to make sure that everything's correct, reviews the revenues with us and makes last minute changes. If, for example, she had the rooms and meals number, which was a little bit higher than what we had in there because we didn't know. And then everything gets finalized and it cranks out a preliminary tax rate, which is the one with the background.
2339.
2339.
Yep.
And then the only real step left is whether we want to use fund balance or some fund balance to lower the tax rate. And that was in the spreadsheet that I sent you, showing that basically for every $50,000 of fund balance we use, we only drop the tax rate by about 3 cents.
How many cents did you say?
3.
Oh, I said 20.
No, 3.
Yeah.
Sorry. My recommendation in the email I sent you Sunday was to use $200,000 of fund balance. I'm pulling back on that now, given our $800,000 surprise
Ooh,
and unknown. Could be 800,000, could be $1 million, might have to happen next year, might not have to happen next year, given that we don't know that anything really much more than something is coming. I would like to keep that $200,000 that I recommended we use in our pockets for now.
And so, because I'm ignorant, how do we get to use that in the next fiscal year?
It's fund balance, it's equity. You and Kelly and I had
It's available. We just have to vote it.
you have to
Town
vote
meeting.
it. So in town meeting, you could vote to spend fund balance on something that was you know, to offset an expense. You could buy a truck with a
Yep.
fund balance. Or you could wait till the end of the year, see where next year's fund balance amount is, and use that to offset.
SUV for field trips and whatnot.
For departing selectmen, yes, absolutely. What's your favorite color? No, so we could use, because it's going to theoretically accumulate,
Yep.
we could use it next year to lower the tax next year.
Right.
So you're now saying don't use any fund balance this year and keep the tax rate, the preliminary tax rate at what they've provided to us, which is a 6.85% increase
Yeah, and
all
so
in.
you and I had this discussion last night, but for the group, I'll ask the question.
Yep.
Our budget book here says we have a 1.5 or 2% increase. This says a 10% increase in the tax rate.
Yep. And so what I pulled up was Kelly and I found in the budget book from last year was an early CIP document that showed a 39% increase from 24 to 25 in the CIP. So the 1.2 that was appropriated for CIP 1.256, I think it was, had a large impact. So even though your operating
So
budget was
this rate, 4.87 versus 5.38, includes last year's spending of 1.2 in capital projects. All the warrant articles are in.
the 4.87?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the 2024, all the warrant articles, all the operating budget,
And
less the revenue.
5.38, is that all the warrant articles? Is it just the operating?
Nope, that's what we voted this year. That's what the town voted to spend, everything. Like I said, it's your appropriations, which is your operating budget, your capital items, less your revenues, divided by your assessment. So so yeah, we start with a budget and slowly through the year, we finalize pieces of it.
Right.
And, you know, your tax rate is really the last step.
David's listening in now, so let's give him some assignments. Sorry.
And so that's for last year. We're trying to figure out 2026 right now.
Right.
And so the revised booklet that we have on the last page says our operating budget alone is an increase of 4.3%.
Yes.
Without taking into consideration the maintenance trust, the
Spreadsheets.
CIP,
Yep.
or any other special warrant articles that may be on the warrant.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, here's
You
what
may-
I'm having a hard time with.
Hang on one second. Keep in mind, the budget does not include our revenues.
Okay, right. Okay.
Welcome.
Thanks. I left Fairfax, Virginia at 7:30 this morning. Okay. I don't know the number. You said, we'll see how it comes in next year, but you're only giving me percents of the whole. I want the dollar amount.
Of what?
Of the fund balance. You said, next year we'll see where the fund balance comes in.
You-
But I don't even know where the fund balance came in this year. It's just a percent of the.
Fund balance is on the back page, I think, of your tax rate breakdown. I just had it.
Okay.
So the general fund, is that the way you're looking at it? No.
Yep.
No.
No, that's on the budget sheet. So if we look on your tax rate,
Fund balance retention is page 4 on your tax rate breakdown.
it'll be the amount.
Got it. Thank you.
So I didn't, I gave you the percent, not the, yes, I did. It's worked. I just had it.
Okay.
So they recommend the minimum's 5%, we're at 8%. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, 8.01.
Like 18%, so we're definitely on the lower. Right.
17 is the highest, 5 is the lowest. We're at 8.
So last year we chose a number. And does anyone have is there an easy way to tell me if we hadn't given that back, what would the percent be that we retained? And then when we did give it back, what was the lower percent that we actually retained?
No, I can't go back and do that because once it's finalized. So right now in the portal, I can plug in 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 and run different scenarios. Once it's finalized, I can't do that.
It just
So
seems
that-
like the $800,000 is not clear. And we didn't have it in the plan to do the East Pencook Bridge this upcoming year when we gave the money back last year. And it feels like we're always going to have another big expense coming down the pipeline, but right now we have an opportunity to stay within the recommended range, pay for the East Pennacook. Is it a culvert or it's a bridge? I'm not sure, but the East Pennacook culvert. And then take the information as it comes in regarding the actual costs for the landfill cap.
Sure.
Just one thing to kind of keep in mind. We also have this bond that we did that works a little different because it's through the state. So we submit for expense reimbursements. So we are going to have to front these costs and then they will give us the money back. So we could have a 1 to 2 month period of time where our fund balance is going to be our cash flow to carry us. So having a better fund balance would definitely make me feel better that we wouldn't need to try to put things off that we're supposed to be paying right now, or secure a line of credit or do something to try to make that work. Because that's a lot to pay over a period of 1 to 2 years. I'm just not sure where those expenses will line up either. Right. In your email to us from Sunday, you said that even if we give back $200,000, we will be retaining more of a percent than we did the prior year.
Yes. We'll be building that. But now I'm with this $800,000. Suppose DES comes back and tells us in January, you've got to do this ASAP.
Mhm.
You're all of a sudden, you're going to put $800,000 into your expenses for next year, whether it's in the operating budget or in a warrant article through your capital program.
And
That's
then,
going to have a huge impact.
and then this time next year, you will have the opportunity to use more of that fund balance to say, okay, we, made a healthier fund balance so we can put more towards offsetting that immediate cost.
We're talking about two different things too. I mean, talking about East Pennacook Road, we're also talking about the landfill cap, which you may or may not have been on while we were discussing that, but
I was. I'm just saying,
Pennacook's $1 million
There's
and the
two-
landfill cap's 800,000.
but there's 2 different departments from the state telling us you have to do this and we didn't plan for it. So it just seems like, even though I understand they're different projects, the scenario is similar.
And so do you want to, so what are you,
Well,
you still
okay,
want to use 200,000 of fund balance?
I'm saying I don't think that we should necessarily assume that because we have another big project coming down the pipeline that we shouldn't consider giving something back to the taxpayers, because we'll always have another something.
Okay.
$200,000 of fund balance against the tax rate is what I figured, 15 cents,
12,
12 cents. No,
3
Yeah.
cents per 50,000. You said.
well, yeah, but then there's,
Knocked
so
off.
on my, you're down to 23.24. If you take off 200,000 from 23.89, that's 15 cents. On a $750,000 house, that's $112 that you'd be saving your residents.
It's a gesture. It's not about the dollar.
It is absolutely a gesture.
But it's always a gesture. That was true last year too.
So it's true, yes.
It
But-
just seemed like we had less of a fund balance last year and chose to give it back to the taxpayer. And now we ended up with more of a fund balance this year. And I understand that we have more projects coming down the pipeline because of the bond, because of the projects. But just looking at these numbers and taking away like the accounting principles of it and just saying like, so you gave back money
when there was less in the bank account and now there's more in the bank account and you're suggesting not giving back money.
Exactly,
Yes.
because all of a sudden your expenses are gonna be huge.
Because we
Yeah.
probably
Got
would
it.
have avoided a tan had we not applied surplus last year. So it's costing us money this year.
I don't get it. Wasn't the TAN for $3 million?
We are short because the tax rate is late. We
No, yeah,
have,
so that's not $200,000 worth of a TAN.
No, but it's part of the tan also. Like,
Sure,
I
but we
mean,
would have had to
any-
do it anyway, right? Because.
not if tax, not if taxes were out earlier. And with a healthy fund balance, that allows you more wiggle room in your cash flow.
I understand about cash flow.
Okay.
I do bookkeeping
Yep.
for a living. I'm just saying like the numbers, the way they look, it just seems like, and I wasn't here for the conversation last year, and neither were you. But it just feels weird to have less money and be willing to give some back. And now we have more money and be less willing to give some back.
But I hear what you're saying, but I think it's significant that we now know that the transfer station cap
Oh, I'm so sorry. And the culvert.
and the
Which-
culvert, yeah.
I also would say, Vicky, I'm not sure, going back in time, like, I'm not sure I would take what we did in years past as like a demonstration of what we should do moving forward. I don't know if it was the right decision or not last year, but I'm just saying, like, I also hear what you're saying. Conceptually, it feels odd. However, I don't know. I mean, we voted on that last year, but maybe that wasn't like the best, most responsible thing.
I don't think this came before the board. The use of fund balance, I did not find it in any meeting minutes last year.
It was always part of the budget presentation.
Yeah.
So there was maybe not a specific vote for it, but it was always part of like the global look at what's the tax rate gonna be and what are we asking?
How, if it's the budget conversation, this is maybe where I don't understand. How could this year's fund balance, other than what rolls forward, impact? I mean, I can't tell you what this year's fund balance is going to be because we haven't closed our year. We don't know what surplus we're finishing the year with. So how can you project?
And that I
I
can't
don't
answer.
know.
I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, I remember it was part of the discussion.
It was on that like dynamic spreadsheet. that-
Right.
I've
Right.
been looking for that.
But maybe
That's-
that, like, again, that might be something we want to leave behind and
Yeah.
not take that approach. So I don't know, I'm not an expert in budgets, but I do think we're sitting in a different position now, knowing about the culvert that is a must do, because otherwise people are driving to Concord and around, and the $800,000 or more on the cap, if the state comes in and says, you need to do this right now, I mean, we're in a much different situation than we were a year ago. It's worse. Fortunately. So. Were you gonna say something else, Karen?
No, not, that, nothing that wouldn't muddy the waters.
Can I ask, just before we sort of jump into this budget discussion, do we have any sense for where we are all in at this point for a tax rate and an increase over last year
For next year.
or next year? Correct.
No, because we haven't finished with the budget. I mean, you got a $10 million operating budget plus another 1.3 million in capital stuff.
And that's what I'm asking for. If you add that 1.3 to the $10 million operating budget,
And then
what does that look like?
all else being equal, revenues were, oh shoot, we had the bond in last year's. Revenues are about 5 million, let's say, between 4 and 5 million. So we're at what, 1 point, Jeff, help me out.
Well, if we're at a 10.2
We're at 10 something plus,
plus 1.3 is 11.5 total expenditures.
and you take off, let's say, 4.5 of that,
You just said 5.
4.5 or 5, take your pick.
It's 7 million. We raised 7.7 million last year through taxation. According to this.
And then now add 800,000 to it.
Okay, so that's a separate issue.
And yeah,
In theory, the town tax rate could go down slightly because our assessments are up.
right.
The
they
new
continue-
building,
they-
I don't know
they-
how much new building we did this year. Not as much as in previous years because the building I think we've only built 3 or 4 houses this year.
Yeah, the assessment went up only about $1 million this year.
Really? That's hard to believe. There's only 1 house.
That's what where's 24?
That assessor back out in the field.
24. 1.395 to 1.396 ish.
Have we received the rooms and meals tax?
I don't think so. No.
No, we usually get it mid-December.
So
Doesn't seem to make sense. We raised 7.7 last year through taxation.
What year did the bond hit? 2025, we raised 7.5 million. That's
So the math that
this
you and
year.
I just did with extreme accuracy says we need to raise 7 million for taxation this year.
2024, we raised 6.8.
This year, for the coming year, based on
That's 7.5
this,
for 2025. For 2026,
yeah,
yeah.
we'd only need to raise 7. It sounds like. 10.2 plus 1.3 million in capital expenditures is 11.5. Back out revenues 4.5. We raised 7 million through taxation.
And you add 800,000. Okay,
Separate issue.
okay,
DES may say you got 2 years to fix it. I don't know.
yeah.
But
Again, I don't like projecting this stuff this early in the game, and this is why. Because your
And I
assessments
get-
are gonna change. You could, yeah.
So let's say we keep it at 7.5 million through taxation. Consistent with last year. We have an extra 500 of the 800 you're trying to talk me into. And then
Okay.
if we don't spend it, we can carry it forward. Is that right? We can,
Lapses.
say it again,
It lapses
Depend
to the
on,
general fund.
but we can, like we do with the highway money, we can just
Encumber,
encumber, thank you.
some, sometimes,
only if you have a commitment to spend it.
yeah.
Okay. If not, then we'll have a giant fund balance and Vicky can give away all of it.
But but we're not gonna, right now at least, we're not planning on putting anything on the warrant to raise and appropriate for the transfer station cap.
I think that's a discussion that has to happen between now and sometime in January, so soon.
I agree, but we have to finalize the budget tonight. And
Right.
so,
But warrant articles are separate.
true,
Yeah,
it
they
could
put-
be a special warrant article, but it's not,
Right.
it's not gonna be in the operating budget, certainly.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't need to do that during 2026, maybe it's 27. And hopefully we'll get clarity on that between now and when we have to finalize and sign the warrant. So for now, for the operating budget part of this, I think Jeff's numbers are pretty good back of the
Suspect.
envelope. I was gonna be kinder than that. You know, $7 or $7.5 million tax effort, which is what we did last year. Which, unless I'm mistaken, would be a very marginal increase in the overall tax rate from last year to this year.
Should be a decrease because there's more assessed value,
Yeah,
marginally more, essentially the same.
and that's obviously subject to change pending the transfer station. And any other sort of surprise special warrant articles.
Okay. So process wise here. Does anyone have any big issues? I think we've gone through the operating budget a lot.
I don't understand though.
I-
Things are highlighted but
Yeah.
not changed based on our conversation from
Yeah,
last
they were.
time, right?
No,
They're different.
the yellows were changed. The
Okay.
greens were, let's revisit.
Okay,
Okay,
I see.
so we should do the greens.
Okay.
So we should please look at the colors because I spent a lot of time on this.
Okay,
Thank
yes,
you.
absolutely.
So first under green, I think.
So
would be
this is
exec-
yellow, but I don't understand, like, what's
That-
the point in the select board column? If we just changed it in the department column.
So if I ran a report right now, all of those would be moved over. Karen was working on this earlier today, then I was able to get the budget moved over to the other line. So it is now in the select board line, like column. So in our software, we just have to close out the department one and move it over.
I think, I guess my answer to what you said, Vicky, is that when we finish tonight, that will determine what's in that select board column.
Okay, yeah, it's just too bad that we can't see the changes that we made.
But this is the change.
They're
So this-
highlighted.
Yeah,
Okay,
So that went up, that went from 127 to 130.
okay,
There's only like 5 changes and we can
yeah.
pretty much tell you what they
So
were.
the next one would be exec office supplies, am I correct?
And that was a revisit.
Okay.
There was some discussion about lowering that.
And then the IT replacements,
There was some discussion about what do we really need for that? And I was confused, I think. And Kelly and I talked and I think we can reduce some there.
Okay, so
But-
wait, let's go back to office supplies. Who wanted to change this 8,500?
I did.
Good. Okay, so what do you propose?
I propose just holding it steady from,
7,500?
yeah, I think we can make do, or we can call the rec center and say, do you have any paper? I just feels like we've got, as I said, you add up all the office supplies, over $19,000 worth of office supplies coming in.
it's crazy.
And maybe we can, Karen's been going sort of piece by piece auditing stuff, and I'm hoping that'll be something that comes down the pipeline eventually. And in the meantime, I don't think we should add to that budget.
Is everyone okay with lowering that back to 7,500?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay. So the next green one is the IT.
all the select board expenses.
That's the change. We dropped that.
You dropped that
Yeah.
$2,000 from 10,000.
Got it.
Okay, so IT.
So, yeah, we do need to, we're supposed to be replacing 5 computers a year. Last year we did more than that. I think we can reduce that somewhat. I think, what did we talked about taking the $2,000 out, dropping it to 18 on replacements.
I was very convinced that we had to replace many computers this year due to Microsoft kicking us off of a cliff that had to do with Windows 11, which means that many more computers than 5 were replaced this year.
So we shouldn't have to replace as many next year.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
But
I knew that was coming.
so without having a good handle on which computers were replaced, I kind of agree with leaving a bit of a buffer in there because we just do have a lot of unknown this year. Neil knew a lot.
How do we not know which computers were, I'm not trying to be a wise guy. How do we not know which computers were replaced?
So I'm sure our IT company probably does, but I don't know if we've.
I mean,
can
could we
you
not
just
send
get
out an
scheduled?
all-staff
Yeah.
email and say, write back yes if your computer was replaced this year, write back no if it was not?
I would rather not do that. I would rather say, okay, I do have an inventory from our IT people, which I think only covers about half of the computers, but those are the ones that they're aware of and that they're monitoring. Then there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there. And I think it's going to take somebody either walking through each department and looking and going, okay, well, where's this laptop used? Because my sense is that there's a ton of stuff out there that we don't even
currently
Really
we just
don't.
had a lot of short staff time. We were down an administrator for a couple months, we're down an assessing person. So everybody's been kind of trying to pitch in these extra projects, like this is something that needs to be dug into, but we just do not have the time at this moment to say, yes, like we know for certainty you can reduce that to a certain amount. So there is a little bit of unknown.
But I mean, for months in the springtime at budget committee, we were told by Neil, oh man, this is such a pain in the butt. We have to replace all these computers. That's why we're over in this line item.
I can't speak to what happened before I got here.
I know, but I'm trying to give you
I
like
know.
anecdotal evidence that I sat through
gotcha.
meeting after meeting after meeting where that information was given to me. So it feels really weird to increase this line item by such a degree because of an unknown, even though
It's-
I have some information.
I Yeah.
So I don't, it's not an increasing it necessarily, but maybe
So-
keeping it at a higher level than it might need to.
Why was it budgeted at 13 when we spent 21 the year before?
I don't know. And where is
Yeah.
the 2024 budget number? Like we only have the actual.
That's all we only get the actuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to. pull
That's
out
not a
my
change.
Budget book. And
Maybe.
ready to figure it out.
Yes.
Mhm.
But this number,
No,
this
actually you don't, sorry.
Can you pull
I
it?
do have that. Computer replacements, is that what we're under right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
In 25, you budgeted 13,000. In 24, it was 10. In 23, it was 10. Before that, it was 8,000
Consistently been way over.
last year, and it's been very consistently way over. The reds are what the actuals are versus the, yeah.
But putting aside what did or did not happen and what Neil did or did not say, this is reflecting what you think the true cost will be in 26. 18 grand for computers and 2 grand for miscellaneous hardware.
And I'm happy to drop the miscellaneous hardware out of there. I think we could absorb it. I think that $18,000 actually was carried forward from the comment last year, correct? And is
I
that,
didn't do
Is that-
anything with the note.
no,
And Vicky, is it correct to say you would prefer that we stick with the 13 grand, which was budgeted in 2025?
I don't have a particular number in mind.
Just less than 20?
Yeah, it just seems like, you know, we didn't go through everything line by line, which was my suggestion, and you guys shot it down. So if we're only going through these certain line items, then I feel like we should really dig into it. We should know how many computers were replaced this year versus the year before versus the year before. And I understand it's mid-December, we don't have that information for a lot of different reasons, but it feels weird to continually aim high at every single juncture. Something's got to give.
I would support reducing it to 18.
I agree.
Wait, and by the way, I feel like we have essentially gone line by line. What do you mean we shot down your idea?
I don't know. We sat here at our first budget work session and someone said, how do you want to do this? And I said,
Oh.
why don't we go line by line? And then we ended up just calling out stuff that we thought we had a question about.
Or places we felt like, yeah, that could be reduced. But so what would it have gotten us to, I'm confused by your comment.
Like, wouldn't it be neat if Mr. Fowler was sitting here and even if we think we know what this means, digging in more and saying, what are we replacing the siding with on the Houston barn? Is it going to be barn boards or is it going to be vinyl? Like just literally more information about every single one. And like some of the blue writing underneath was holdover from last year or even the year before. So it wasn't really informative about why this number is the way it is for 2026.
Mhm. Although I feel like we have had a lot of conversations about a lot of lines in here, so.
and we actually were looking at some comments that I was suggesting we take out, and Kelly suggested, hey, you know what? The 2023 comment that this number was blah, blah, might be helpful, so we left it in. So, I mean, we're trying to provide as much helpful information as possible, including trends.
I hear your message. I mean, it might be helpful to say like, this comment is left on purpose or something like that, so it doesn't look like a mistake. Cause it says like last year in 2022, you know what I mean? Like some of them were not up to date.
Okay, this is, okay, it's a lot.
New
to do.
process for
Yes.
everyone involved essentially. So these are all good constructive criticisms, but I don't want to take away from the massive amount of work that has gone into this from staff and from this board. So
I'm not saying that we haven't done a lot of work. I'm just saying that if there's only certain ones that we're discussing tonight because they're highlighted, then I wish I had all the information about these highlighted lines.
That's what I was asked to do at the last meeting, was to go through and highlight and make sure that we had answers for these items. There weren't questions. I literally went through the marked up sheet from last meeting.
But I
So-
think we asked how many computers were replaced. So,
And
you know what I mean? I'm
I
not trying to
think-
pick on you. I'm just saying like,
Yeah,
but I think
If we're-
Kelly just, sorry, you finish.
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
I was just saying, Kelly just explained, I don't think that that could be done in the 2 weeks. It wasn't feasible to wrap their heads around every computer. So it may have been asked, but I'm not sure it was possible to get the detail for tonight. You were saying in light of staffing shortages and such.
We definitely have been more geared towards trying to get the tax rate set, getting those tax bills out,
hiring a position.
hiring a position. It's been a lot.
I hear you. I
Yeah.
need to present this to the budget committee and in front of like the whole town. And this is like a pretty simple question. And I completely understand that there are only certain hours, so many hours in the day and so many people that work for this town. But how many computers were replaced is like a finite question, you know? I mean, it's not a high level question. I understand there are a lot of computers and a lot of people using them and maybe multiple people using one. So it can't just be like, was your computer replaced? Because maybe more than one person touches your computer. I don't know. But it just feels like, again, having had that message given to me repeatedly by the former town administrator and understanding that, yes, Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 10, which meant we had a very specific reason to replace computers this year.
Which I would question, why did our computer IT people not let us know? Usually they give you warning that it's going away.
Vicky,
Intent was to.
when are you
upgrade,
presenting?
Not to.
Next Wednesdays?
Next Wednesday?
But it was not.
If we replaced all these computers, wouldn't there be receipts for them?
Yeah, there's an invoice somewhere we could dig out.
Would it be possible for the purpose of Vicky's presentation next Wednesday to look for the invoice to give her a ballpark number?
Yes,
Since that's like even if it's like we have this invoice and this is the amount we believe was replaced, so that even if we don't have it tonight for the budget decision, in the backing of the information, you have that in your back pocket if that comes up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on the slideshow. I have 19 things that I need clarification on.
I think also part of that discussion is the fact that I think Karen's work has demonstrated we need like an audit of sorts of IT in general in this town and maybe questioning who we're using as a consultant or whatever. And so not that that's a very satisfying answer, but the work is being done that probably should have been done in years past,
I will-
perhaps.
toss out some good news that it looks like the telephone and internet is going to net some savings. I mean, it's a worthwhile exercise to go through, but I don't know when Beverly started on it a couple months ago. It takes a little bit of time. So
So it's in process.
it's in process.
Maybe that might help explain some of the question marks in this particular line item.
I mean, there's a lot of question marks, like if we're not gonna be revisiting economic development committee thing, I mean, the economic development director, coordinator.
We did discuss that.
No, but we don't have it finalized. Like, we don't know what it's gonna look like, but we're
Oh, the
funding.
job description.
That's gonna be a hard sell.
Okay, well, let's keep moving because I think let's discuss that because I feel like we did actually get some clarity around that, even if it's like not in writing, but I hear you. Okay, so next highlighted.
How
TC,
many replaced? We will have that for you. So any other detailed questions?
Percent of the whole, like, we replaced 15 and we have 50. I would love to know, we replaced 25% of the computers. We replaced 33% of the computers.
that one's gonna be.
I mean, why don't you like my idea of just sending out an all staff email and saying, was your computer replaced this year? We're trying to figure this out.
We've had turnover too and things like that. People might not necessarily know. There's a lot more.
We have a computer in there that the supervisors use. There's another one in there.
But
I
perhaps in the next
did ask
week-
her that question and she sent me back something that was not inclusive. They don't have a record of all, because I figured they would. And I said, give me your inventory, and it's short. So there's holes in this, which is frustrating. But we'll see if we'll see it. We'll work on that.
That tomorrow.
Go ahead,
for
Sabrina.
tomorrow.
No, for
Okay.
next week.
Next week, okay.
Next green, TC tax and professional services. This was the 2,500. I believe Christine told us we needed to start this process of preserving paper digitally. And so any further information on this? I thought she presented it as like a must-have, but
I think she presented it, I remember it as being, this is something we've kicked
I can't down the
the
road.
can down the road on, and see the note from 24, remove for 25 should be added back in 26. Some of the paper is going to start potentially to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember my notes reflect this too. Christine saying it was like something we have to do. So I would prefer that we keep this in here to start that process. Maybe just one. How do people feel about the 2,500 on the preserving vital records?
I'm fine putting that back in or keeping it in.
Okay. Is one more person in favor of that?
It seems like it's.
I mean,
money.
we pushed it off a couple of times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, check that back in.
I appreciate that we're doing things like lowering the select board's discretionary funds. And then also leaving in the things that need to happen that are the like small maintenance items that can be easy to.
Oh, did I forget to propose a raise for the select board members?
It's not too late.
I'm on the way out the door. I wouldn't even get it.
Yeah.
It's
You
true.
guys can blame me next year.
Okay, next up on the green highlights, record storage. Storage of property, history files and some planning records. That's at 16, page 9.
This is our image silo.
Okay, maybe it should say digital storage, because it feels like we're talking about banker's boxes in a storage
Okay,
unit.
nope. This is digital banker boxes. And that's actually on track. The invoice is currently just at $1,280 a month. And at 16,000, this gives us a little wiggle room for them to increase their prices or charge us more based on the storage amount that we're using. Because we will be adding property cards from 2025. That's going to be a bundle of information going up.
I'm good with this at 16.
Anyone opposed?
Vicky,
Yeah.
I want to make sure the one right underneath digital record storage. Last meeting, we talked about why there was that huge jump that had to do with the encumbered funds that made it look like the budget was much lower than it actually was. And so while it appears to be a 50% jump, it's just that we're not using, or we are not at this moment, we haven't encumbered funds for this. And because it's a huge one, I just wanted to make sure you felt good there.
I would love a refresher on that.
Yeah, because this is one I really struggled with personally. There's the huge, what appears to be the huge jump, right? From a budget in 2025 of 56 to a budget of 86. But what actually happened is that 40K was encumbered and used first. And so that means that this year we've actually spent 75, not 35.
Which means the jump to 86 is.
Much smaller, but appears much larger.
Mhm.
We also pulled in some funding that was being funded through the capital reserve into the operating budget. I think it was $9,000 a year. Is that
I mean, there's the note that says the data verification is now in the operating budget. This is lowered yearly appropriation, lowered from 25 to 9, which I don't necessarily understand that line, but
That's, I think that, I'm sorry, yeah, I have it backwards. That's reduced what they're putting in the CIP from 25 to 9.
and it's showing up here in the operating budget instead.
Right, it just got moved.
Why is any of it in the CIP?
Saving for the reval in a reval capital reserve fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because that one really caught my eye multiple times until it was explained to me about the board to pay being encumbered, and then I was like, oh, so that is one of those moments where the way the system presents itself doesn't give you the full story.
So just looking at last year's CIP, that in 2024, we appropriated $42,000. Going forward, we have 9,000 in there. So it came out of the CIP and shifted into the operating budget.
I'm just doing the green highlights, but we can obviously go back to anything else people wanna. These are just things we flagged from our last meeting. I think the next one is PD office supplies.
Sorry, you guys are keeping the 16.
Yes.
Is the next one PD office supplies or professional services for planning?
What?
I see one at 4191.
Sorry.
And I think what was being questioned was the year-to-date of 850 and the request of 7,073.
Right.
And I think did I put Karen's email in the drive? She talks about the map. Did she give the whole thing? Just the, yeah, she talked about the cartographic contract, which is 973. The planned consultant of 2,400 to cover unanticipated planning needs such as specialized studies, zoning amendment analysis, assistance during drafting ordinance language, et cetera. Several years ago, the funds were used to cover stenography services for a legal matter before the zoning board. Recent example was when the Fougere Planning and Development assisted the planning board in evaluating whether the town's proposed regulatory approach to wetlands was consistent with similar sized communities. In 2025, the planning board did not hire outside professional assistance because we were fortunate to have Jeff on the planning board.
Those days are over.
Jeff led the subcommittee work on impact fees.
But the reason we were hiring consultants was not because there were applications before the board. It was for like master plan, impact fee. It's just nothing we could pass on to an applicant, in other words.
No, specialized studies.
Yeah, okay.
3,700 is the master plan. And I think I had a note that where it has conservation in it, and I think the answer was yes, conservation might be able to contribute to part of that.
Can you help me understand why it costs money to update the master plan? If it's just a digital document and we have a volunteer committee that works on it?
We use Central New Hampshire Regional Planning, correct?
They support us on some tasks and we do pay them.
Don't we pay them like dues?
Yeah, but you gotta pay them for hourly services if you use too much.
Okay.
This chapter does not currently exist. So it's a new one, she says.
Some of the chapters you need, like technical studies. I'm thinking of like some of the environmental ones. So it's be very challenging for a lay board to do without any sort of resources.
But, so they're inventing this? Like it's a new chapter?
What was the one you said didn't exist? What's that there?
Conservation, preservation, and open space chapter does not currently exist despite being a critical component given residents' reliance on trails, open space, and conservation lands. It was originally scheduled for development in 2025. However, completion of the master plan implementation chapter and the communities, facilities, and utilities chapter took longer than anticipated.
Does anyone know the last time we had to create a new chapter from scratch?
I do not.
No idea.
I cannot recall.
Probably when we did conservation subdivisions or something like that.
When was that?
I have no idea.
Do you get the impression that this number is? I don't want to say a shot in the dark, but sort of just a best guess? Or do we have like, last time we did a chapter, it cost $3,000, but with inflation, we think it's going to be 3,700.
What did we budget in 24, Kellen? Because in 23, we used 750,
I see that.
24, we used 12,000.
Do you think that was that stenographer?
I don't know.
Okay.
We budgeted
It's like,
7,036 in 25. We budgeted 19,600 in 2024.
Hmm.
2023 was 4,750.
so we've underspent. It looks like, because blue is the budget.
Yeah.
And Vicky, it looks like the community and recreational facilities chapter was newly adopted earlier this year. This says adopted August 12th, 2025.
Okay, whereas it would say revised.
I assume it would say revised. Look at some other one. I just pulled up the transportation one and it says 2022, excuse me.
So do we think that creating the new chapter is a goal of the planning board? Is that where this is coming from?
Mike, thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Fuller.
It looks like, Vicky, in 2020, and for everyone, in 2022, we adopted the master plan, which, by the way, there's a Blink-182 song that has the lyric master plan in it that I cannot stop hearing every time we say the word. And at that time, we had the first series of chapters, a vision for Appleton's future, housing, economic-based transportation, existing and future land use. And then there was placeholders for the next 4 chapters, 6, 7, 8, and 9, historical and cultural resources, natural resources, community facilities, and implementation. I do find it funny that implementation has a placeholder and is not currently on the plan, and it just tickles me. And so it's a multi-year project where it looks like they've just been finishing chapters as they go along,
Yes.
right? Yes, Jeff's like, yes,
We-
obviously.
If we hired a contractor to do one from scratch, it would be like 250,000.
So there's a couple chapters we have to have by state law, and then there's some discretionary ones we can add.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whose idea is this? I don't think I've gotten that answer yet. Was it the planning board's idea to add the next
Just
chapter?
planning.
Planning board, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they have jurisdiction over the master plan.
So is PB professional services, it's kind of like the planning, part of the planning board's budget. Basically.
It is under the planning board. Yep.
Okay, got it.
4191 is planning board.
And what's the detail on planning consultant services?
I just already said that, sorry.
Consultant services, $2,400 budgeted annually to cover unanticipated planning needs such as specialized studies, zoning amendment analysis, or assistance in drafting ordinance language. And that was the stenographer services were given as an example.
Does somebody want to propose a different number?
I mean, just high level, let's say we take out $2,400 because it's planning for unanticipated, which seems hard for me to understand. If you don't know how much it's gonna be, how could we put a dollar number on it? But let's say then they do need that money because they need a stenographer for an unanticipated lawsuit, or because the there's a infighting and the ordinance is unable to be completed without a third party telling us how to do it. I mean, that just comes out of the general fund at that point, right? I mean, I know this is all the general fund, but it would just sort of eat away at the balance.
They would overspend this line.
Yeah,
So somebody would
Presumably.
not have money available someplace else.
Because you can't overspend
Right.
the bottom line of the budget.
okay, got it.
So by eliminating every,
Contingency.
yes, we would put ourselves in a really tough spot. So it's not necessarily that we want to like inflate budget items, but we want to realistically predict what could happen. Because if all of those things do happen, we don't want to be caught overspending our operating budget. And any of those items that we don't spend then revert back to the fund balance at the end of the year.
Back to our prior conversation.
Mhm.
And then could be applied towards offsetting tax rates.
Right,
The following year, not the current year.
right. Okay, yeah. So I completely understand. I don't want to tie our hands, but 2 years ago, we spent $750. This year we spent $850. We're budgeting $7,000. Again, I'm the one that has to tell people why. And unanticipated,
I mean, we did spend 12,000 in 2024.
but it sounds like it might have been lawsuit related. If we need to hire a stenographer.
Is that what?
No, the
That was 2022, I think.
Okay, okay.
stenographer was before that. 2024 was Fougere Planning and Development assisted the planning board in evaluating whether the town's proposed regulatory approach to wetlands was consistent with similarly sized communities and current best practices. There was a comparative review, examined process consistency, and it identified approaches and gaps within the wetlands ordinance overlay.
So I assume that was planned if the budget went from $4,000 to $19,000, right? They probably knew how much that was gonna cost. That was probably not unanticipated. Just conjecture.
Well, I don't know if we paid for that out of pocket or if we got a grant for that. We got a grant for Judy Barrett, but I don't know if we got one for the Fougere study.
No, I think that was paid for. It'll just take a second to run it, but I can show you.
And the master plan issue is not a must-have. We don't have to have that by statute, right, Stephen?
Depends on the chapter.
I know, but the one that you're proposing looks like master or conservation, preservation, open space. I assume that's not required
Yeah, the only
since we don't have it.
required ones are a vision section and a land use section.
Okay. So Vicky, if we wanted to cut this down, I mean, I agree, it seems sort of vague on the planning consultant services. So are you proposing that we take that 2,400 out or cut it?
I mean, it feels strange to have such a specific number when we have no idea what we're gonna spend it on.
Yeah.
Do either of you know where that 2,400 number comes from?
Okay, still all due respect, and I know you only have so many hours in the day, but you said like we really dug into the ones that were highlighted, and I feel like we're not asking the questions that are out of the blue here, and we don't have the answers for.
So
the-
Karen listened to the meeting and provided this email
Yeah.
to explain it. And so
Okay, got it.
I don't know how much more I can,
Yeah,
and I encourage you to reach out to her for clarification.
Okay, is this in my drive document?
I don't think it's in the
Is
drive.
it not in the drive?
No, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh. So yeah, how was I supposed to know that?
Because I was expecting to relay the information to you without loading up the drive with stuff that may or may not get looked at. So I'm still learning.
Okay, no, and that's fine. I've never done this before either.
So where are we at with this number?
Does that explanation help you understand where the 2,400 comes from?
No, I mean, it just seems to be like what Karen has already shared, that this is what it could be spent on.
Mhm.
But it doesn't seem to be like, because last year, or
Mhm.
because 2 years ago, or
Because
because we asked.
Planning.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have any, you're the planning board liaison person? Anything to add?
Nothing specific. I mean, they're, they become needs is, someone's got to come in and look at a foundation or, the planning board and inspections do a lot. They look at everything that gets built here. They approve everything that gets built here.
I can't hear you, I'm
They
sorry.
approve everything that gets built. They inspect everything that gets built. Sometimes you got to use an outside contractor to help.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what they've used this year. Obviously, they haven't used much of it this year. Again, we haven't built anything this year. 2 or 3 houses, maybe 4 houses. $1 million in assessment, sounds like not 4 houses.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's caused the reduction in spending from the prior 2 years. We did build a lot of houses in the past 2 years.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, I don't think really it's up to me. I think, I'd love your input as to whether or not you think this number is appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know what it's been spent on in the past. That's how I would judge it.
Right.
Looking at the trend, we went down, we went way up, we went back down, way down. It's the market. Interest rates come down, building will start again. We'll have a lot more activity. They may need outside services. I don't know about the requirement if there's a requirement for the chapter, there's a preference for the chapter,
No, it's
master plan.
that one feels like if we want to cut this, then let's take out that chapter and say this isn't the year to do it, because that's a firm number on something that's not required. And then you defend perhaps with more information from Karen, the other Karen, the consultant services is there for contingency. Understood. That's just one proposal. If we wanted to cut this,
No,
it feels like
don't see, usually she
the chapter is something we can sort of like wrap our heads around. What were you gonna say something, Stephen?
I was gonna propose a lesser reduction,
Mhm.
just because I know we have other line items to talk about.
Yeah,
I was gonna propose dropping it to 6,500.
just to shave.
Just to shave it, just to give us less of a cushion, less of that planning consultant services cushion.
Can I see the email really quickly? Thank you. I just want to see this chapter. Unanticipated, okay. Master plan, reserved annually for work on new or updated chapter. Not exist, this may be a critical component. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I mean, I get the importance of keeping the master plan updated and adding chapters that should be added, but I guess. Do people want to go with this proposed number, drop 500? Just to drop it down, or say this is not the year to drop $3,700 on a new chapter of the master plan? I think those are our 3 options.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this, it doesn't have to be the way that we go, but like, what if we take out that? We have the planning board come here, explain the need for it and their plan for it, and then if it sounds like something we really want to do, we will pay for it out of our discretionary fund.
That's reasonable.
Just an idea, you can fight me on it.
And
I don't think that's the way that you want to approach cutting, is come and see us after the fact.
Okay,
You'll have a different department in here every week, every 2 weeks.
it's not the departments, the departments I get to ask questions of, it's the committee.
I'm just telling you. My impression is if you start cutting like that, there'll be a different committee in here, department committee, whatever, every 2 weeks. We'll spend an hour, which we already spent too damn long anyway. We'll have an hour of discussion about why did you cut my $3,700 for master plan chapter? And that's fine. How many committees do we have, Alyssa?
1 million.
Like 25.
25.
Okay.
So
I-
that's a full years of meetings, one committee per meeting.
One of the things that I have personally been harping on is the need for planning. And so I am in favor of leaving money in the budget that facilitates and moves forward the act of planning. In light of the way their expenditures have gone the last couple of years, I appreciate the approach of cutting out 500 just to like say, hey, let's be realistic about what we've actually been able to get done in a year and budget for that, while still giving them the discretion whether they're going to spend it on chapters or on consultants or whatever they need to get that work done. But I do think finishing the master plan should be a priority for the town because it's something that should be helping guide us in the future with our future decisions. So
I don't think there is such a thing as finishing the master plan, right?
It's
this iteration.
Okay.
So continuing the work, because it should be an ever evolving document, but we don't
Yeah.
have a document to keep evolving yet.
Well,
So,
we do have a
but-
document,
We have
Not
more
this
of a
chapter.
document,
right?
the
Not this chapter.
So didn't you say that there were 4 plan chapters at the time, whatever you were reading, and this wasn't one of them?
No, this is one of, like,
This
so
is
this
one
is
of
one of them, yeah.
Okay.
It was, they had a placeholder for it as in over the next few years, they were gonna roll out the
Okay.
next few chapters. I think they did the ones that were more accessible first. Because as I'm looking at the chapter that they most recently rolled out, it is much longer than the previous ones. So it was probably a meatier thing, so they did the. And please forgive me to anyone who worked on this if I'm missing anything or misunderstanding what I'm seeing online. It looked like they did the lower hanging fruit first. And then are now working through some of the thornier ones. But I mean, looking at it, it's worth doing and it's worth something us and future select boards referencing more often and looking at, because it has a ton of research in it. It has findings, right? It has things that should be helping guide us and the CIP and yada.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
I
do
mean-
have to move on at some point, because we're gonna be here all
So
day.
500?
I appreciate you have to present this, so I just want to make a decision on this planning board. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
that's great.
nice.
But
Yeah.
it is like, we have a lot to get through, so.
I'm leaving it.
And Jeff's leaving us. So do we want to, I appreciate that perspective. I don't personally have a very strong feeling on this line item.
Move that we reduce it to 6,500.
Seconded.
Does anyone oppose that? Okay.
Okay.
All right, consensus, thank you.
I neglected to highlight Personnel Administration 4155, which is on page 10. Because there is so much information to put in there that we actually did a separate sheet for it. That's your merit pool.
Oh, yeah. Wait, this one, we did 3% last year. Proposes 3% this year, right?
It has there's a separate handout sheet they gave us
Yep.
for.
Right.
Because there were no budgeted amounts, you folks were asking for the budgeted amounts. And then the percentages were in there.
So for 2026, 3% is $100,000. Am I looking at that right?
Yes.
It's a remarkably round number. $100,000. That's a remarkably round number for the merit.
Yep.
And is that because it's an estimate?
It's
or-
an estimate. We're hiring a new person. Part of that agreement is to revisit the salary at 6 months.
Mhm.
And potentially bump it up. So that it's only giving us like $3,000 if you take the 9509 or 95,509, multiply it by 3%. You're at 98. So I feel like it's probably a really lean number, given, if somebody leaves and you're gonna hire them in at a higher rate.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have it here. So I think it's leanly budgeted.
Oh, I believe it. It's just all these other numbers go down to the ones, you
And I
know.
think that's because they're the actual act. of
Yeah,
fact.
I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, Becky, it's just because of the actual after the fact.
I get it. I'm just anticipating budget committee questions.
Yeah, yeah. And not to answer this now, and you probably explained it last time. But sorry, Vicky, will they be seeing this packet?
Yeah.
Because there'll probably be questions as to like, why does it show 0, 0, -0? That's all across the line.
And that was what we were coming to explain.
Cool.
Yeah, so the merit pool, budgeting merit pool in that line has to get reclassified into all the individual department lines. So this budget gets rolled forward year to year. So those changes have to be made within the department salary lines. So it all gets moved. Like that amount gets approved and then it gets divvied out in all of the departments after reviews are done and after all of those wages are set.
And that's what leaves you with the correct starting point for wages for the following year in each department.
If we wanted to do 3.5%, that would be,
I think you guys voted 3%.
117.
okay.
Good. I would need a calculator for that.
Do you want to increase it?
I don't know. I just wanted to know what the increase would be. I'm asking because from our earlier discussion, the operating budget looks like it'll be pretty close to flat, depending on how the rest of these conversations go. And as Karen was just saying, 3% feels a little lean to me. So I wanted to see where we end up towards the end of this conversation.
I think she wasn't saying 3% feels lean. I think she was saying that 100K representing 3% feels.
So if you take 3% of the 95,509, is that a 25 number or 26?
No, so that. The spreadsheet that we plugged in all the.
Right.
Wages into and then did the percentage. That just got rounded up slightly because we've had a couple unknowns. I think you just. added.
Right, so is this the budget year 25 or budget year 26 number? I think this is,
25.
we're budgeting for 26. Is this historical or?
This is historical. This is just the history on it. So that is truly what was budgeted in
Okay, so it,
2025.
so 3% of that number is 97,000 or 98,000 something. 98 and change. And that gives us $100,000.
So we're already
Budget
ahead.
line gives
It's a
us,
reasonable estimate.
we're within, yeah, we're within
Okay.
$2,000,
Okay.
which,
I didn't understand that previously, so thank
Okay.
you. Yeah. Okay. I'm good with what we have in there right now.
Thank you for putting this together.
Are we good on that? Okay. So the next highlight I see is cemetery professional services.
What number or page?
17.
Did we reduced this? Was that why it's highlighted?
this is yellow, yes, you reduce that from, was it 48,000, you took 12,000 off of it.
I just want to make a note, because I think you guys said that it should be a minus. The cemetery trustees put that in there as so on the note for that line for 2026, it says the 48,825 plus the trust of 18. So that was saying their original request was the town would put in 48,825 and the trust would chip in 18 for those items. The landscape cost, the GPR, which is the radar, right?
Yeah, that's what we backed out. was the
Yeah.
NPR.
And the trees.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't that one of the trusts that Dave mentioned that just has
Yes,
$6,000 sitting in it?
yeah.
Well, can
We gotta
do
look
that.
at the allowable uses for the money before you
Right.
pull it out.
Everyone okay with this? So wait, we're still, so they wanted town to put in 48 and we are dropping that to,
36.
oh yeah. It still feels high to me, but okay.
Well, it still feels high because last year they wanted 47 for a landscaper.
Mm-hmm,
And y'all said, no, we're not gonna spend that and reduced it by 10K,
mm-hmm,
but then they still spent it.
mm-hmm.
One
So-
other, sorry, but I
gave
think this is part of the confusion is
Yeah.
the year-to-date expenditures also include some money that will still be reimbursed from the trustees.
Okay,
So that will come down.
okay.
And I don't remember now off the top of my head, but last year I recall the amount of money they have in the trust seems more than sufficient to be, for them to be spending more. I really can't stomach the town dropping 50 grand on landscaping for cemeteries, which is what was basically being asked last year.
Yes, and they were saying they are spending everything they can spend because
Yeah.
the interest is less.
They claim the money's restricted. They can't use it for, I don't know if they can use it for.
Yeah, we got a history on this.
Perpetual care fund, you should use for
that
care.
They had more money previously. They spent all of the excess money they could have, and now they're in leaner times at this exact moment with the fund.
Mm-hmm,
And so that's why we're seeing bigger requests on the town.
okay. So we'll keep that as is.
But Kelly, thank you for the note on the fact that it doesn't include reimbursements, and so that's what I'm seeing, not that it's necessarily 20K over budget.
Yeah, so that
Mhm.
should be much closer to the budget amount.
Thank you. That makes me feel much better.
Okay, does that bring us to the next green highlight, office supplies, page 21?
Yep.
Yes.
I can't remember the story on this one.
The chief's here.
Just talking about office supplies.
That's the line item that's got like a positive balance or something.
Yeah.
Negative expense.
Negative expense, yeah.
They're paying you to use their office supplies.
I honestly think that is just a oversight on my end. I got office supplies and office equipment, and I think what was the budget for the office equipment?
They're both 3,500,
And how much did I use on?
1,300 so far of new equipment.
And I think the office supplies, we figured was around like 160 so far this year.
Yeah, and the negative expenditure has to do with getting reimbursed for some jackets that I bought for the guys, and I ended up returning them. So they were put under that line for, I don't know if maybe somebody misread my writing because my writing's not the best. I don't have a good explanation as to why it ended up in that particular line, but that's why that's there.
Just cut his budget out totally refund. He's
On
gonna get a refund from somebody else, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So you mean like we paid for jackets out of one line, but then when we
Yes.
sent them back, the refund went into a different line?
Yes,
I see.
so.
So,
Net, it's fine.
So we will address that and get those
Yep.
classified.
but so on this one, was somebody suggesting, or did we just want more info on why it was a negative?
I think we just didn't understand how.
Okay.
No, I think I was suggesting cutting it.
Oh,
I'm sorry, sir.
That made totally.
It just seems like
Offense taken.
$160 this year. Or why do we need to allocate 3,000?
I am gonna purchase more stuff. I know we need a couple of chairs. There's a couple of other things I'm gonna go under. I don't think it necessarily eat all that up with a couple of chairs, but there are a few things I do need to purchase.
And then so for the one above it, we've got office equipment. So would office equipment not include chairs?
It would, yeah.
Okay, so then office supplies, so both of these are like $3,500 and not spent. Not coming to that number in the actuals. It's like $1,300 for equipment and then a nominal amount for the supply. So I don't want to put it to zero or anything,
Please
but.
don't. I
Um,
gotta buy paper. I gotta buy, a lot of other office stuff as well. So which-
Absolutely. And then, the year prior, we actually did spend $4,000. So I'm not suggesting that you never have to buy anything. So, I mean, should I just like make a suggested cut?
I mean,
Or-
is there
in
a
front of me,
better,
yeah.
is there a better estimate than 3,500 for office supplies?
I honestly don't know how much paper costs, and I know a couple of chairs, like they're probably around 150 each. I need maybe 4 or 5 of them. So, and I know
Yeah,
my-
paper is usually like, it's expensive, right? It's like maybe like
$43 a box.
Yeah, I was gonna say $50 a box. If you buy it per box,
yeah.
it's more expensive if you buy ream by
Ream,
ream.
yeah. So, and I don't know what other stuff my administrative assistant needs. But I know she needs a couple of things. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be anything $3,500 wise, but it'll be up there.
So could that be reduced by 500,000? 500 more.
All of our problems.
It isn't negative balance here.
Um,
Also looking at that, I do think we need to increase the cleaning supplies. I know this seems silly. But you keep requesting 200 and you keep needing more than that. And that's A-okay, cleaning supplies are expensive. So just naming, I don't know if it's like all just a wash in the broader budget, but it might just be balancing itself out within the.
So what if we drop, yeah, okay. So if we increase that to.
Like 500.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you were saying drop by 500 or 1,000.
Or 1,000.
So cleaning supplies are going to 500.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they've spent 422 year to date.
Mhm.
And then office supplies down to 3,000.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
He's staying.
Next, I see page 25, fire department conferences. training.
Yeah, the yellow, reduced it by $500.
Okay.
I did mention it to the fire chief and he said classes have been funded by grants. Not sure if the grant money will continue to be available. That was his comment. And he
Okay.
talked
It's
about
interesting
training
'cause
being important
The actual over the last few years has all been under 2,000. So it does.
due
feel-
to the grants he's been.
Okay, I
able
see,
to.
due to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so wait, you want to keep it at 2,000? He's saying he wanted it back up to 2,500.
He showed up like the police chief.
Yeah.
He was invited.
Okay, so people want to keep that as is at our level of 2,000.
Sorry, I was just a little behind on that one.
No, that's okay. Page 25. Thank you.
Sorry.
And that was.
Okay.
We're just.
Oh,
keeping
okay,
us- Yeah.
Carry on.
Okay.
33.
Trash.
We did this already.
We did plug it in as a placeholder. It's the actual, so just we can,
Okay.
their contract is floating. There is now a $3.50 fee. I think we talked about that where it's going to get refunded. So that will be probably outside the contract, but it will come back.
So you mean out of $106 a ton, in the long run, we can expect $3.50 per ton back?
No,
Oh,
you're going to pay $109.50.
I see.
And then
I
you're going
see.
to get 350 back. So yeah, unfortunately, that'd be nice if we were better.
Yeah, I like Vicky's version.
Yeah, I do too. Let's go with that.
We on to,
I also did get an email from Bonnie who suggested that our 2024, and I can't remember if I mentioned this last time, our 2024 tonnage was somewhere the information she had was like 3,400. So she was questioning whether 3,200 was reasonable or not. I sent it off to Dan, never heard from him. So let's go with 32.
okay.
Maybe we can make a push for recycling at town meeting.
Yep. Did I highlight?
38 rec overtime.
Oh, wait, there's another one here that came in late too. Hazardous waste. I'm not sure where that gets. budgeted.
33, five-ish.
Five-ish.
Hazardous waste day,
The hazardous waste day, yes.
4325419,
Yep.
page 34.
So we budgeted 15,000. I got an email from Diane following the hazardous waste day, which was what,
Couple Saturdays
a
ago.
couple of Saturdays ago. She is recommending we budget 16,500 for 2026. She hasn't got the bill yet from Clean Harbors yet, but she said we had a greater than expected participation. I think there was something, the report from Matt Bumford was by 10:30 a.m. they had approximately $1,300 left out of the 25,000, which was the starting budget. So a lot of people showed up. And she is encouraging us to budget for a 30% increase next year.
When
Which-
the 25 grand runs out, do people get turned away?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yes.
Do you know?
So Jolene, in my correspondence with her, has said to always encourage folks for hazardous waste day to show up early.
Okay.
Because when they reach their capacity, they will shut down. I didn't ask her what capacity meant, but I guess it means the budgets. Because she has said, like, in previous years, they've had to shut down early because they can't accept anymore.
Anymore, so they do cap it.
Okay, so we should increase this.
Who's the person that made the recommendation to increase it?
Henneker's town administrator, based on what happened this year.
Okay.
30% increase?
Yep.
It feels like a lot.
I'm also like, I wonder if the price of disposing of things is also getting more expensive.
Wasn't it 15 this year?
So,
16.5 is only a 10% increase.
yeah, well, that's what's,
I didn't go.
I yes.
High school.
I have a copy of a letter, a commitment letter for 12.5. That the town of Hopkinton has allocated 12.5 for the purpose of hazardous waste collection. And we budgeted. Is it,
So 25, well, you paid half and they paid half.
there was, I guess, a little wiggle room in there. I didn't do the budget last year.
But it seems like we were already increased the budget if it was 12.5.
12.5 for 25.
Yeah, because
We kept it level.
This says 15 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kept it level with 25.
I know, I'm sorry. I thought you said that we were contributing 12,500.
That's what the letter said. So I don't know why 2025 was budgeted at 12.5. Don't have an answer for that.
That's that slush fund that we all have dinner on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a commitment letter here signed. Oh, there's no date on it.
Quotes in for the recordings. Good.
Nice parting gift.
Then I'm gonna leave.
So,
I
so
don't know if I support doing more than 15.
okay.
If the commitment letter is at 12.5, I just don't understand why we would add 30% more on top of the 15 that's already in here.
No, I'm recommending putting it up to 16.5,
Oh, okay.
as Diane suggested. I don't know why 12.5 was in the letter from Hopkinton to Henneker when we budgeted 15. I don't have an answer for that.
All right, so 16.5, are people okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. You leaving this?
Right.
Nice.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, now we have lifeguard overtime.
Which you folks had already moved. You'd increase that by $500.
Okay. Okay. E&G new equipment. Mowers, trimmers, spreaders.
Yep, I talked to Dan today, not Dan, Greg. Let me catch up with my notes. He said he's got money in there. The board had said, hey, can't we encumber some of this money? He was talking about a large expense. He said, yes, I was talking about a lawnmower. the increase, the blip up from 5 to 10.5 was for 2026 only. His explanation for having only spent $6,074 or $674 was that he was kind of holding off. We apparently have not had heat in the fire station. I didn't know that. And so there's an unexpected bill there. He does have his eye on a box scraper, which is like a York rake for a tractor, but it helps you level fields, ball fields. So that's what I gleaned from him as far as his explanation, why he hasn't spent it this year and what he's looking for next year.
So the year to date is gonna go up considerably before the end of the year?
I think yes, I think he's holding off purchasing that box scraper based on, he thinks his maintenance line is gonna go up, be potentially overspent because of the heat issue at the fire station.
Okay, okay.
So he's looking to stay within his bottom line. That said, I said, well, so if things go well and there is money left over in this line, he did talk about, well, we've encumbered it in the past, and I said, ordered it and put a down payment on
Right.
it or whatever, so he has talked about using unutilized funds if there are any,
Okay.
And so the thing he's looking to purchase next year
as a lawnmower.
that costs 5 grand, 10 grand?
I didn't ask for a cost on that, but that's why that line went up, why it doubled. I mean, if what's a zero turn cost? Like 5 grand?
They're not cheap.
A half decent one?
Yeah.
More than that? Okay, so, yeah, there we go.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Mhm. You guys are good with that?
Yep.
Good. Page 45.
Yes, we added this. Unfortunately, this is the $712,000 loan that we took out to move the sludge from the treatment plant up to the cesspools at the transfer station. That is the payment for 2026.
Oh, was that just not in there previously?
Yeah.
Or is that a new entry altogether?
And we forgot.
I missed putting one in
Got
there.
it. Okay.
I'm sorry, what is this the cost of?
The bond payment for the last town meeting, we voted for like $712,000 bond for the moving the sewer. So that is the bond payment that will happen next year.
That we're required to make.
Okay. Even though we haven't really done the project yet, that doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't
just,
matter, the
okay,
money, the project's been funded, so.
right.
So is that not a bond? I believe that's a loan.
It's a bond, it's through the bond bank, but it acts just like a loan. We get our funds at the time the loan closes.
And then you pay. Okay.
The state ones are the only ones that are working different than where it's reimbursement. It's more of acting like a construction loan. And then the loan closes at the end of the project.
So when we start to pay for this project, will that money come out of, like one of these transfer station line items? No.
Mhm. So when we start to pay for that $4 million project, it'll be paid for as a capital expense, and then the state will,
No, I'm sorry, the sludge.
the sludge, sorry.
Where will those, like, if we have the loan and we closed on the loan and we got the money and then we start to spend it,
Yeah,
where's that gonna be reflected on here?
it will not be reflected in there. It's
Okay.
coming out of that loan payment, and it will be recorded as capital.
Okay.
expense. Yeah, so not in our operating budget because we're paying it as a loan. Did you want me to?
And then the
run-
tan interest was added on the other side?
Yep. So the TAN note that we are taking out tonight We'll accumulate some interest. It was what, 4.5% for 30 days. If we max out the 30 days, I came up with $11,000 in interest. And I figured I'd like to enter 10,000 in there.
Bless you.
I think it'll be shorter than 30 days that we have to borrow it because usually people do really come right in and try to start paying their taxes pretty close to when the bills go out. So I'm hopeful that we'll have enough to pay that back
Yeah.
before the 30 days to try to cut down on some of that interest.
So Karen, say again what you wanted to change it to,
I wanted to change it to 10,000,
from $1 to 10,000?
$1 to 10,000.
I don't have that.
And so we wouldn't have had to go through this process if we had been able to set the tax rate and get the bills out by December or November.
November,
something.
yep.
And so
Well,
can you?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
No, sorry, it was kind of. My face was reflecting.
No, that's okay.
Looking at more than what you were saying, sorry.
So can you help us understand what led to needing to take out this? No.
Yep. We had a delay in getting our MS1 done, which is the assessment that was coming from the assessor, also coming from the utility assessor. That stuff was late in coming. So the MS1 got done early November. The two village districts had difficulty. And one was wrapped up right before Thanksgiving. The other one was wrapped up pursuant to our interaction.
So it's not actually anything from the DRE's perspective. It was our ducks weren't in a row.
Right.
Okay.
And then obviously then once our ducks are lined up, and to be honest, Kat at DRA was absolutely wonderful. She left me a message at 6 o'clock on Thursday night and said, can you guys talk first thing Friday morning? We talked first thing Friday morning and, and then it
So
goes
she
back.
responded as quickly as she
She
could.
could, yeah. Usually you're kind of put in the queue because she's got other people, but she understood that we were like chasing pieces and a lot of our stuff was there, but just one or two things had been missing.
Mhm.
So,
And we still have a couple more steps too. Once the tax rate is set here, then it has to go back to DRA and then the warrant has to get generated and then you guys have to sign the warrant and then
The bills go out.
bills can be generated.
Good.
so if and I'm not letting you leave like Jeff snuck out. We need to set a tax rate tonight.
Mhm.
And then I will go in there and I will plug it in. And so they'll have it first thing tomorrow morning. I am hopeful, based on what Kat said last week, that the person, I guess the director, I can't think, the old guy left. Who's the new one? There's a new
Sam
one.
Green? No,
No, Sam retired.
we did. Okay.
But anyway, the new one,
Lindsay Steps.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's right.
will, stamp it first thing tomorrow morning. We'll create the warrant right after that and send you guys a text or an email and say, please come sign. And once we have 3 of them, we'll start the printer.
Can I ask about the $10,000 instead of $1? If it's a short-term loan and we're gonna get the tax revenues back, why are we adding $10,000? Is that the interest that we're expected to pay? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
We need to budget the full principal. No,
Probably paid on maturity. There is no principal.
there's a line for it, but no, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that, I don't believe that we do. I'm just saying. I'm really hoping that it will all happen.
Quickly. Yeah, okay.
Isn't the TAN paperwork, I think it said you pay principal, whatever's outstanding on maturity. So there's no principal payment to make
Until
until
January 11th.
January.
But if we pay the principal off sooner, we have less interest.
Less
And
interest.
there's no penalty for paying.
Right, right. Kelly, you're gonna do a live update?
So with all those changes, we're now at 4.4% instead of 4.32. So that actually went big.
And what was,
to talk about the economic development coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
what was
Going to run this and then have you guys go back.
the dollar?
4.4%. Sorry, the headers are cut. Budget. So your new total would be 10,188,257.10.
And what's the dollar change?
That's not. It's 429,156.
Okay, okay.
Before, yeah, so for
Yeah, so we added $8,000 roughly.
429 what? I'm sorry.
429.56.
56.
Excuse me.
Okay. You want to talk about economic development director?
43.
Page 43?
Page 43.
Okay, I thought we had landed in a place of still supporting this position with the understanding that with sort of revised direction of the Economic Development Committee itself, this role would also have sort of a slightly different orientation.
Yeah, I mean, and then I made a draft of the job description,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which we haven't had a time to discuss.
Thank you.
I think it's gonna be a while before we finalize that.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure how to explain this to the budget committee when we don't have a candidate, we don't even have a job description. And I don't know when either of those things will be available. Also, the fact that it says halftime position, I think we need to take that out.
Why do you want to take out the halftime position?
Because we don't have a job description. So it seems like,
But we level funded, and so I don't know that we could do more than a halftime position.
with all due respect, I think the halftime position was somewhat catered toward a specific individual, and that if we change the job description, the salary should be commensurate with what we decide is in the job description and not what was done prior.
No, that's fair. And I think, I don't want to speak for Ian, but I know that he has the proposed job description that you provided, and yeah, obviously we don't have any response to that yet, but if we want it for the next meeting, hopefully he can accommodate that request so that we.
I'm not asking for it for the next meeting. I'm saying we don't have to do it for the next meeting. I'm saying we should take the time and do it right. And we should have holistic discussions about what is this?
Mhm.
And that's fine, and I was just, I didn't know if it would help you in your presentation to the budget committee to have feedback on the job description by the next meeting.
No,
Okay,
I would feel just as, I would feel like I'm on just as shifting sands as I am right now.
Got it, okay.
I will say when we initially created this position like 5 years ago now or whatever it was, maybe longer, maybe less time, I can't remember. But it was put in without, unless I'm not remembering this correctly, Stephen. But my recollection was that we created a placeholder and funded it, and then in like the next year, that's when we actually hired.
I
and went through the process.
think that's right,
Like
because
this existed first.
yes, because we initially hired someone from regional planning and it
wasn't-
didn't really work out.
Yeah.
And so then we did a job description and interviewed and
Mhm.
had the position filled for a little while. Yeah. I mean, I understood that we had decided to level fund this. understanding that we were gonna come back to tweaking the job description to reflect what the board voted on changing in terms of mission and values at the last meeting. And, you know, that's still my understanding of what we're doing. And I don't know if that's not sufficient for explaining to the budget committee, but that's accurate, at least.
Yeah, I would say it's accurate. I just feel like there is no job description right now. The job description that existed was too long and did not actually, some of it didn't come to fruition. You know, some of it was hopes and dreams, not duties and responsibilities. And so I don't think that there's a clear understanding whatsoever of what this might be in the long run. And regarding the halftime position thing, I mean, it's just, it looks optically like an insane amount of money for a halftime position. I mean, if you cut, not to pick on Kelly, but if you cut Kelly's salary in half, it is less than that. And she's a one-man show finance director. She doesn't have a committee backing her up. Like, it just seems like too much money for a halftime position. And again, not that I know the answer here. I'm just saying too many question marks. Like, I can't, it's not enough yet. We either need to have some kind of like a timeline where we decide, like, we're going to try and have this sorted out by February and hire someone by May, in which case let's prorate the budget for that. Like, I'm not able to explain why this needs to be there the way it is. And please, I mean, give me the information if we have it, but if we don't, please don't make me just like wring my hands in front of the budget committee with no information.
The other piece to consider is because it is partially funded by the TIF, there may be some ties to development within the TIF district, and that need to be there in order to fund it that way. So we'll have to look at that
I think
once
that's accurate.
once we get definition of what the responsibilities are going to be.
Right, and there was specific language in the job description to that effect. You know.
In the new
so-
one or the old one?
Well, I didn't take it out
Oh, okay.
because of this specific.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, no one has had any time to read this. No one has any time to consider. And I appreciate they gave to Ian, but I actually thought we were going to have a board discussion before it went to the planning board, because this is more about like, what does the town need? Not planning board, excuse me, economic development.
Yeah.
My understanding was this is about what does the town need? Where are the gaps in our services and can we fill them?
I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess my thought was we would get input from the EDC and then we would have that conversation.
Okay.
But I would want to
I'm
know,
fine with that.
as a board member, just what does the committee think about this before, you know, we sort of wade in to decide it.
Okay.
And
What
if
did
we-
the committee think about this as a standalone? I hope, not as compared with the prior job description.
Yeah. Yeah, because it needs to reflect what we voted on at the last meeting.
I could easily see a world where another member of the budget committee asks Vicky, we've been funding this role for X number of years. We've spent, how many years have we been funding it?
4,
4 years, so
I guess.
200K budgeted towards it,
Mhm.
100K coming from the town, right? If it's a 50-50 split, and what do we have to show for it? Like, have we gotten that investment back? And I think that I would have a really hard time saying that holistically, yes. I'd say like there's a lot of bright spots and a lot of things were done. But that because we have yet to have a really clear direction and really gain traction, that it does feel like a lot of money budgeted towards something that hasn't resulted in 100K worth of outcomes for the town.
Well, it's only had someone in it for a short amount of time.
Correct, but we keep budgeting it for it, right? So
That
that
money's
means
not
that's
spent.
Right, then if I was him, I'd be like, where is it going? Are you giving it back to me? Why are you budgeting for it? Why am I paying taxes on it? If we're spending all this time talking about $500 here and $1,000 there, and then here is $50,000, of which I know ultimately we're only paying 25 because we get reimbursed for half of it in theory, right? But it still shows up in the tax rate, right? It still shows up in what people are,
Does, but if it's not spent, it goes back to the unassigned fund balance.
right, but it's still not back in their pockets. Like,
No, but we have the opportunity to pay down the tax rate the following year using that money that goes back to the fund balance.
right, we have the opportunity, but based off the conversation we we're having earlier tonight, it seems like we weren't leaning in that
Not this year.
direction.
Yeah.
And so if we feel like it's a lean year and we're not able to pay down using the fund balance, then they might ask, why should I fund a position which we don't have a timeline on? And I know one argument for it is that it could be harder to get it back in there in the future once you take it out. But my thing is, if it's a good enough cause, you can make the case. But I do think it gets some goodwill to say that when we are figuring things out, we're not going to ask you to fund them. We're going to figure them out. Just because something doesn't have a line item doesn't mean it's not important, but we're honoring the fact that every dollar in here, as we all know and we all appreciate, is coming from someone's pocket. And I'm not going to ask you to allocate that until I know what I'm going to do with it.
But if we want to hire for this role in 26, it needs to be in here.
Right, so Vicky's idea about prorating it, about
Okay.
saying.
That's fine. I don't want to have, like, we have had so many debates about whether this should exist, and I honestly, for a long time, didn't think it should exist, and I still
Yeah.
could certainly be convinced of that. I just feel like we've had this conversation where we landed is that we were going to fund it for 26. And so I think if we want to make that full-time or prorated or whatever, let's do it. But, I mean, I understand it's a tough sell because it's been very disjointed from the beginning.
And I mean, I think that we can come up with a really awesome plan. And I think that we could shape something that could really serve the town. And that Vicky could stand up and be really proud to like defend that salary. But I don't think that is this like next Wednesday. And I think it shows a level of understanding and grace to say, let's prorate this. Let's recognize we're not gonna be able to hire it for the year. Let's also recognize that 50K for, it says half-time, but is it 30 hours a week?
I don't know.
20. Okay, that's a lot for 20 hours a week, particularly compared to the other positions and what we're funding for the folks who are currently working in the town. So I'm also like, let's just put it within the context of when we think we're gonna hire and what everyone else is making in town.
Sure.
Goal be
Prorate it.
hiring somebody ideally in March. So,
I think using Q1 to get our ducks in a row and launch a search is a really good idea. And I
Okay.
think putting it at like a 30K budget, recognizing that we're still gonna be working out the hours, how
Mhm.
much it's actually gonna make,
mhm,
and that we could ask for more money in 27, depending on how that all shakes out.
mhm.
Absolutely, because maybe we come up with a 30-hour-a-week position, right? Maybe we do discover it's more work, but yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Whatever timeline we settle on, I just think it'd be easy for me to explain that we prorated this number by that amount, and I
Yeah.
think we should delete the line halftime
Okay.
position. Because we don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that we had this in here last year because we just left it in and we thought we were gonna be hiring for it or having like a grander debate and then right after March when.
And then
before we-
12,000 things happened
Correct,
at
yes.
once.
And so, but that's why it was sort of like in as is. But I think, yeah, can we prorate it?
We
maybe?
s-
Can you really get it done in 3 months?
Well,
If we decide it's a priority, we can.
Well, I mean, I think we don't want to underfund it and then have to dip in someplace else if we get a really good candidate.
but
So I would say-
realistically, when do we think we'd have a job description done? Probably not until after the new year.
I mean,
Hmm?
well, how many more meetings do we have in December? One more?
One,
One. So yeah,
Okay.
after the new year.
So
probably
we have
fair.
this. This is Vicky's draft that she kindly put together.
has an 80,
At the next meeting, we have an agenda item that is setting our Q1 priorities and saying, what is it we actually are going to get done accounting for the fact that things are gonna pop up on our radar, but it's like, is the priority this role? Is the priority sorting out committees? Is the priority supporting Karen in a technology audit? And like, what is the priority? And then really driving towards it. And checking something off.
Mhm.
Doesn't that feel nice to be like, we checked it off, it's done? Go us.
Yes, but also I don't want anyone to think that between January and March, things are super calm and chill because we're still deep in the budget
You
and
think
prepared.
super common.
No, I know. I'm just saying that it is an awkward time to be taking on like grand initiatives, but I do agree.
One.
Yes, I agree.
Two.
Let's get some things done. I like that idea. So
Do it.
we will focus on economic development and getting that position done. It does seem like in a great world, March would be a reasonable time to be either in the process or have a candidate. I would find it very surprising if we found some like amazing person in like early February and we don't even have a job description right now. So March feels
Yeah.
reasonable.
I think March for launching the hiring, because then you can let the job description sit out there while we're going through town meeting season, so to speak, right? And then come back to that and get into interviews.
Okay, so are we okay with a proration of like assuming the March-ish time? frame?
When's the start date? That's the easy way to figure the math.
April 1st.
So 1/3.
So reduce it by a quarter.
A quarter.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
you're gonna-
38 grand.
Yeah. Oh, did you just do the math?
Just did 38, 743 and a half.
That's assuming that
Nobody's
we'd still be
fact
at, okay, yeah. never
What?
mind. Yes.
I said, nobody's fact checking that math. I trust you.
I'll do it again.
I'm doing the math.
763.75, but.
Do we want to, instead of half-time position, part-time position?
Sure.
And you wanted, so 9 months, right? Yes.
Paid
I didn't include benefits. I didn't include any benefits. I was.
No,
just-
I didn't either. I just did
Oh,
the.
you did?
Yeah, so I just
Oh.
divided the salary by 12 and.
We're leaving it
by
at the
9,
51.
right?
So here's my thing is I'm a-okay doing a prorated off the 51 because we may come back and say it's actually not 20 hours, it's 30 hours or whatever, and then we will
And you
adjust
get benefits.
accordingly. You
You
get
get
benefits.
benefits.
It's 25 hours, and then we adjust accordingly.
Kelly's number was right, by the way.
Okay, friends.
Are we
Putting
putting
38,763.75 in there.
in there?
And taking out the half position.
So now
We're
what's
gonna change it to
now
part-time.
what's our
part-time.
percent?
Now we're back.
Now we've dropped down below.
Do
40.
you feel good about this for next
Sure.
Wednesday? Okay.
Much better.
Thank you all. And it's not, we're not debating like, should we do this? It's rather, how do we best budget so that
Mhm.
we're respectful of
No, per rating
everyone's
makes sense.
Mhm.
wishes.
So
It's suggestions.
I will be rounding up and down because DRA does not do dollars and
Right.
or does not do cents.
Okay,
So just,
that's fair.
Is there anything else we're going over in the budget part before you want me to run another?
I think that's it.
what was that, 37? When you guys,
764, basically, if you're rounding up.
38,
760?
38, 764.
No, well, yeah. When I put it in for the MS1, I wound up, or the MS 737.
So 38, 764.
Yeah, or if 763, 75. And if we hit something that goes more,
I'm so sorry, Karen, what?
if it's over 20 hours and we have to factor in benefits.
Like the boombox playing the great.
20 or 30?
40.
Okay.
You can work 35. We have some 35-hour employees that don't get benefits.
Okay, obviously.
Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, it also just makes
Yeah,
me
so it's-
sad.
I
but
don't-
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true too.
I was.
So wait, do we have our final?
She's calculating.
Calculating, sorry, all right.
It's been
Not a quick process.
The
Sorry.
abacus must be moved and the beads put in place.
I need to have a drink, take a drink. Okay, here we go.
Oh, the TAN is the tax
Anticipation.
anticipation note. So we're taking a short-term loan because we don't have our tax money yet.
Yes.
We're down to a 4.27% increase.
Dang.
Okay. What you want it to be
I don't know.
with that little
I'm
drop.
Just
So the dollar
Big
change
puzzle.
now is $416,234.85. In the budget, do you want that number too?
Yes, please.
10,175,335.85.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly, for doing this in real time.
Thank you.
Do we need to take any action officially now that we've landed?
Would you like to vote on it? And if you're good with it, and, you know, you could just vote the bottom line.
I will move that we approve the operating budget bottom line of 10,175,335.85.
Seconded.
Okay,
To be rounded up.
to be rounded up as needed for
Sure.
CRA. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Anyone leave the meeting?
So- Vicky, I have a note. I'm gonna try to be there next week.
That'd be
And
great.
I appreciate you
calendar.
and thank you
Yeah,
for taking this
thank you.
on. It's,
I was gonna print off a big
Thank you.
Vicky hat and like put that on a stick, and I was gonna be in the back with balloons and cheering you on. That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm so excited.
and Karen, will you be there?
Yes,
At the budget?
She
Okay,
runs
good.
the meeting.
Okay, good, good.
I was gonna say, with Krista.
I'm gonna be my Team Vicky shirt.
He's like, hell yeah.
How many do we need?
I mean, I'm just making
She's
sure.
she's the person in my ear,
I
right?
didn't want to make any assumptions.
I'm trying-
Yeah, she's gonna help as are anyone else from the select board who. could show up.
Excellent work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you both.
This is great.
Employees.
We still need to.
We still need a tax rate.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not.
So
Oh, no, I'm
Non-public.
very aware of that.
Right.
one
okay.
is quick.
There's a couple
Tax
signature
rate,
pages
okay.
we weren't
No.
here for.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So am I looking at the right document? If we don't use fund balance? I'm just saying this, I'm not saying we are doing that, but if we were to not use fund balance. Then the total tax rate, town, county, local ed, state ed is 2339.
Yes.
Okay. I would be in favor of that, just in light of our discussion about these new known costs coming down the pike. Also recognizing, Vicky, I could be convinced otherwise if you feel strongly about using some of the fund balance, but I just would prefer not to, given where we are and given that it doesn't seem to like, doesn't help all that much. In terms of actually like, you know, what people are gonna feel. And if we're gonna need money to pay for this, potentially the cap and definitely for the culvert, I feel like it is more responsible of us to not use fund balance at this time.
Yeah.
Is the idea that in the hopes of holding on to fund balance and not giving it back through taxes, that we will have to ask for less support and help in the form of bonds or other things in the future?
Yes.
And that would be our hope.
And then we're not paying more interest to borrow
Mhm.
that money unless we really have to borrow that money. Which is the reason why I am supportive of not applying any unassigned fund balance and just rolling with 2339.
Already, your debt payments, as they are this year, are about 1/10 of your operating budget.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Can you help me understand why you mentioned that at this moment?
Just because I think that's significant.
And saying we should try not to take on more.
Right.
Debt.
Reduce future
I
borrowing.
just think that you're committing a large amount of money every year. 1/10 of your annual budget is going to funding things that you've, you know, and maybe that's reflective of my personal spending habits.
I mean, I hear you. I don't think the lagoon thing was our choice.
No, and that's not even in here.
Choice.
It's so.
It's not even in here.
Yeah.
The $4 million is not even in here. So in a couple of years, that comes in.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm,
So if we did 0 fund balance, the rate's 2339. If we did 100 grand, it's 2331. If we did 200 grand, it's 2324.
And so the difference in this example would be $110 in totality. Am I
On
reading
a
right?
750,000
Yeah.
house.
So less on a,
$650,000 house. Yeah. Yep. I just picked a
just
number,
asking for,
picked a number.
doesn't own.
Yeah. And the DRA suggests towns retain fund balance between 5 and 17%.
And the last page of your tax rate breakdown gives you what using 0 fund balance, we'd be at 8.01% retained, 2.925 million.
Because last year we finished retaining 6.7% of the fund balance, which feels kind of low.
And that was 2.3 million, 2.344.
And Sabrina, this is the numbers.
No, well, but we can get to that tomorrow. Yeah.
Others, thoughts? Sounds like. So Karen's recommendation is not to use fund balance. I think you have 2 of us who agree with that approach.
I wish using fund balance had a bigger impact.
I know. Because when you think about it conceptually, like 200 grand going towards an $800,000 price tag is very significant. But 200 grand here isn't really, it's not super helpful.
I'm also in favor of not using a fund balance this year. In light of potentially needing to ask to use fund balance for larger projects, and in the hope that that means we won't need to ask for as much in bonds or loans. Being able to pay more in straight cash and therefore accrue less cost for all of us over time. Assuming that everything I said out loud is actually a thing we can do, and I'm not just making up a thing that we cannot do, right? You guys tell me when I make up things that we can't do.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, cool.
Nailed it.
Thanks. Sometimes I invent things and you're like, you can't, it's not legal.
Right, vote to use 0 fund balance, please.
Make a motion to use,
Make sure, hang on, before you do that, that's Vicky, I know you're absorbing and processing.
I think we should use $50,000 of fund balance because it is an easily justifiable number based on the money we didn't spend on the economic development coordinator and the money we didn't spend on the office supplies. That's my.
Didn't spend or budget.
Didn't spend on
Spent,
this year's
okay.
budget.
Okay.
I can't do the math on what 15 grand.
Oh,
it's
I
like
didn't
3
do a 50 grand.
cents on the tax rate, of 4 cents.
Again,
Yeah.
the gesture is worthwhile. Totally understanding that y'all think that the dollar amount is nominal and therefore it's not worth it. I'm saying the gesture is worth it. It's my 4th cycle on the budget committee. The gesture is worth it.
I think I'm behind Vicky on this one.
Yeah.
Particularly in light of the money not spent in the 2025 budget.
I place a lot of weight on her presenting this and knowing what will land well. So yes, I am supportive of 50,000.
I am too. I wish it could be more.
I know, I did too.
Vicky, thank you for speaking,
So-
your experience before we got.
50,000 gets us
Thanks for
at
asking.
23.35 for a tax rate. And oh, I guess, no, we have to go back up.
I don't know if this helps out at all, but I will let you know that I've been trying to not spend as much money as I could. And I want to say conservatively, maybe $40,000 left in my budget at the end of the year. So
This is good.
if that helps your decision at all.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Buy some paper. The two
Get those comfy chairs.
Yeah. in paper.
That puts us at 7.87% remaining in fund balance, 2.875 million. And whatever I said the tax rate was, 23 something,
35.
23.35.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we use $50,000 from fund balance.
Seconded.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll see.
Thank you. Yay.
Yay.
You got a lot done tonight. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for the
Not done
in-depth
yet.
process.
We're not done yet.
And
The hard, I
Kelly,
think we're
thank
through
you
the
for
hard
being-
stuff, though.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you both.
I do need a couple Vicky signatures before I can leave though, because I have to send this. So, sorry, I'm gonna tell you, it's first, it's for the tan. So it's just the terms for the tan. We could take up to that amount. 4.5% payable within 30 days.
Oh, before we jump into non-public,
And they are very thorough, so this is
think I
actually the exact same
sent it-
thing.
maybe I only
But on
sent
the
it to
bank, feel
Sabrina.
free to peruse, but.
We had, Karen, Kelly, Beverly and I did a search and found a wonderful candidate to fill Kara's position. And we have somebody we'd like to have you guys approve tonight to hire. There is a PA floating around here somewhere.
Exciting.
She's ready to start tomorrow if you give her the go-ahead.
Do you know Vicky on this ones too? Yeah.
Happy to sign all of them.
More's better. She was listening. Yeah.
I was here the whole time.
In there, but I'm taking my two so I can scan them and get them. on
Here?
the thing. Sorry.
I don't think we've acted on that yet.
No.
Yeah,
That's the
so not
feeling,
this one yet,
No.
but these two are marked where you need to sign.
Honestly, I got here before everyone today because I was carrying such a volume of
Oh,
bags. So I was like, I cannot walk in after the meeting.
Yes, please.
Is
Is that the resolution? That one's.
Yeah, that's a resolution. Yep.
You're good with this.
Yeah.
You want this, Karen? And then do I need to save it? Save.
I can go recreate it. Oh, yeah, quick save. We'll just submit it right now. It's got 50,000 in there.
Mhm.
Complete municipal review. Okay. Just in line for the morning, hopefully. All right, thank you. Solution. Management, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know if I need you guys to sign this. Does anybody have any questions or want to ask questions or we?
Is this the non-public one or is this separate?
No, this
This
is,
is our hire.
this is our hire, so I don't
I
know.
would like a quick synopsis before I sign something. Like, why this person? What was this?
She's amazing. We got 4 resumes. We interviewed 3 people. One was a stretch, really nice, very young person. Probably could have done the job, but would have needed a lot of training. The second one had had worked for the Department of Revenue, had some assessing, but not the municipal side of it, had the DRA side of it, which we were hopeful that that was going to be a better match, and it really wasn't. Kim comes with very strong administrative support, experience. Assessing is something I think she'll have to learn, but she's essentially, she's been at Canterbury Shaker Village for a couple of years, did some development over there, has some financial background, has management, office management, and just a really can-do attitude. Her references just gushed about her and said, basically, you're an idiot if you don't hire her. So,
Awesome.
and she's very excited to join us
How soon can she join?
tomorrow.
Oh, really? Seriously?
Yes.
No way. Wow.
For us to sign?
I'll make a motion. We can just make a motion.
I don't know if you guys usually, I think you usually do those in consent agendas.
I think that's right.
But yeah, but I did want to make sure you were aware that
So there's an approve box here. Should I check the approve box?
I think so.
Okay, check it.
I haven't signed it yet.
Thank you.
Everybody loved her when, we interviewed with her, just had a really good vibe.
That's great.
So I'm very excited.
Yes.
Okay.
We are
I'm
done.
gonna make a motion that we go into non-public for two separate sessions. One little B hiring, the other one little C reputation. After those non-public sessions, we will adjourn the meeting and not conduct any more business.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait, it's a roll call vote, sorry. Sorry about that. Vicky?
Yes.
Steven?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for everyone.
Thanks, Lauren.
Here.